Ladies and gentlemen, there are literally over 100 games either confirmed or through board meetings confirmed to release in 2025. What if you had to narrow it down to just 3? That's what we're doing today in Codename Goodgame. And to join me today, I have 2 guests that, how do we narrow this down? Well, we're going to talk together between me and Nick from Quest Mode, who I didn't fix your screen, and Josh. Or sorry, Nick from Friday Nigh Gamecast and Josh from Quest Mode. Hello, everybody. Nick, you're not on screen, but I'm going to fix that right now. So, Josh, how about you first? How you doing? So many games, dude. So many. I put up a board thing for us to help be organized, but there's a lot to go over. So, and then Nick, you are now about to be on the screen. Look at this, chat. If you're here live, look at what I'm doing, trying to make him show up. There he is with his muscles. But Nick, now you're on the screen. How's it going, dude? Happy New Year, by the way, to both of you. I feel the same, dude. Oh,
5 off strong.
I just realized you both are muted.
Good. I'm excited about this conversation because I think this conversation is going to get me excited. So I'm happy to be here, man.
All right. They heard the second half of that because apparently I had you both muted. But Josh, you were saying it's a good time to, like, it hasn't been that long of a gap. But Happy New Year to you, sir. Josh, I want to actually introduce you in a certain way. And I told Nick this. I'm like, hey, when we both get on this stream, we have to wish Josh a congratulations for winning the Game Awards Fantasy Draft. By a mile. By a mile.
You killed it. You killed it.
All right. Like, yeah, I mean, I was watching the Game Awards, but I didn't remember my predictions, to be honest. So I wasn't keeping track.
Well, for the nominations, like that's what you.
Oh, I guess that's right. Yeah.
You like Nick was our middleman, and I sucked, but you like got basically every single one. There was only like 2 categories I think you missed, but every other one it was nuts, man. So, Josh, because you're our champion, actually, I wanted to throw you an on the spot option. So these shows, all and right. Again, chat. Sorry, there was things been going weird. The stream started when I didn't tell it to, and then I forgot to unmute or whatever. It's been a hot minute. It's the first stream of the year with Codename Goodgame, and I took a bit of time off to do some finding myself if you watched that update. But I'm looking forward to today, man, because we're going to be nailing down what our favorite games, or not favorite games, our most anticipated games of the year are, and going through, like, indie, third-party, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo. There's going to be a conversation about Nintendo. And if anybody has any other things they want to talk about, I will be looking at the chat. So just at Samurai Kibuji and highlight your message. And quick other plugins to Steffi and Creature for being basically 2 sponsors to the channel, high-tier patrons. If you want to support the channel, go there. But, man, there's a lot of games. And at the end of this, we're going to have a trivia game between the 3 of us. And Josh, I thought because I wanted to extend an invitation to you. Because you cleared by a mile that fantasy draft, I wanted to let you pick what will be the game at the end of this that we do. And you have a choice between you get to work together with Nick to do 20 questions, or you get to guess what a game is based off of descriptions. So basically, there's one where you work together with Nick over 20 questions. Or there's a new game we haven't done before, which is you guys will like buzz in to see who guesses first. If, say, it's an open world game that requires you to build by destroying materials and Minecraft. You know, like that's what that is. So I don't know if you have a decision now or if you want to think about it through the show, but
I'm tempted to say, like, work together on 20 questions, because I know we've done 20 questions before, but I don't think I've ever done it with someone. It's
That's
always
true.
solo.
The
That
only
makes it a
time
lot
you have
tougher.
was when we had our like our big, like everybody was on.
Yeah.
And you had 5 people working together and you guys couldn't get it.
Yeah. But the guessing based off descriptions does sound fun, but I feel like I'm just going to get destroyed at that. So we'll go with the first option.
Okay. So, folks, ladies and gentlemen, it's the start of the year. It's January. And actually, in my opinion, kind of a slow month. Am I wrong, by the way? Would you guys agree? Is there any like major games coming out in January? I can think of 2.
There's one that I'm very much looking forward to. I wouldn't call it a major game, but I'm gonna keep that under wraps because it's probably gonna come up during my selections. So there is stuff, but yeah, I mean January in general is a pretty slow month. I feel like publishers steer clear of
last
January.
year. Yeah, Square did. I think they dropped Rebirth either January or February, if I'm not mistaken, last year.
Early.
But this year we're totally free in the clear.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, we will get to that, but and a quick shout out to Supertone, Steffi, Creature, Fox, C2. Guys, thank you very much for coming. Like C2 says Phantom Brave. I have not heard of that. And there's some obscure stuff that people I have one more plugin. I have a poll going on through the next couple weeks of what is our community's most anticipated game of the year. At 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, there will be a new round of 4 nominees that you get to vote on. I'm looking forward to that, man. It's a community tournament. But today, we have the 3 of us deciding what are our 3 must-plays of the year. And we'll be going through various things like indie, third-party, platforms, and I thought of also Lowkey. So, if there is, I guess let's just start with the big one, the big just the third parties, because I think that's the one that like there's just so much, and a lot of people they'll say the one that Nick got to draft at the fantasy draft. I don't know. Instantly, when it comes to third parties, is there anything that comes to your mind, Nick?
You know, there's a ton.
Besides the one?
Besides the one. And I'll tell you, man, like, everybody is so hyped about Grand Theft Auto 6, but I know this is probably going to just drop a nuke in the chat, but I do not really care about Grand Theft Auto. I just don't. I think Rockstar is a great developer. I think the products that they put out are excellent. I mean, Grand Theft Auto 5 was a very important game the time that it came out. It's so old now. Like, what is really the relevance of it versus Grand Theft Auto Online? I think that's a question you have to ask. Red Dead Redemption 2, a lot of people say is a masterpiece, but like Grand Theft Auto 6, of course, it's gonna be Unreal Engine 5. It's gonna be like all of these massive improvements. You're gonna assume that potentially that Sony's gonna leverage the PS5 Pro to have it be like the best way to play it. Who knows what's gonna happen really? But it's gonna sell billions of dollars and it's gonna do great. But I just like because of what I'm interested now, I am the most. Like, I'm just not really interested in a Bonnie and Clyde crime story, which is what I feel like this is just going to manifest. A modern Bonnie and Clyde. And sure, they could have some things. They might have, like, meta commentary that they might talk about in terms of, like, what modern culture has turned into and what that means. They always have, like, a commentary that's, like, slipped in there. And their comedy writing is, bar none, like, excellent. It's some of the best in the industry. But I'm just not super jazzed about GTA 6. I'm just not. That's just me, and that's okay.
And I want to say, like, I'm actually kind of like, let's just talk about it. I'm slightly with you. Yeah. I think it's one of those things that it's like, because, so fun fact, talking life, my big goal of 2025 this year is to finally get my dog. Very much looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah.
But everybody's like, so what do you want to get? I'm like, I've been planning for many years. I've been meaning to get a Labradoodle. That's what I want. But over the years, everybody started getting Labradoodles. And I'm like, I don't know if I want a Labradoodle anymore, because everybody has that. And that's how I feel about GTA 6. It's like, because everybody's excited for it, I'm just like, I don't feel special being excited for that. So that's where I sit with it. And I'm like, I put a poll in the chat. Is there anything you're looking forward to more than GTA 6? And I'm very curious what people land on. But
I just like wonder what is it gonna do differently? Because it's like when Grand Theft Auto 5 came out, the fact that GTA 5 was so big and expansive, you can change multiple characters and stuff, was revolutionary for the time. Like, what is GTA 6 gonna do to push the boundaries?
Look,
of
I'm just saying,
right?
Red Dead Redemption 2, I told myself, if the next GTA is like as detailed as Red Dead Redemption 2, that's all they need to do.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it really could be like one of the first true like modern real life crime simulators, and you get to do whatever you want to do in a world that's almost realistic, right? But yeah.
Let's let Josh talk for a second. Yeah, I want to get Josh's take on like GTA 6 or like where you're sitting with it.
I'm right there with Nick. Like, I am not sitting on the edge of my seat waiting for GTA 6. But GTA has never really. My favorite GTA that I've ever played was GTA 3, and that's because that was like the first open world game I ever played, and that blew my mind. But since then, I played GTA 4, didn't even get through it, and then I played GTA 5 and got through the story. Never played GTA Online, and it's just like, yeah, it's an impressive open world, especially for the time, for sure. But it's not a world that I'm just like dying to spend hours and hours in. And also the writing for me has never been like
you shut your mouth.
Storytelling, I should say.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it just the storytelling for me has
dialogue.
never been like it's never hooked me. Just it's kind of like generic third person open world shooter gameplay to me. Like, that's the way I view GTA, to be perfectly honest.
Man,
so
this is wild.
I do think the world is really impressive, and like gosh, I'm like even drawing a blank on what the world in GTA. I know it's modeled after LA. That's not
I would argue that's what
Los
Rockstar
Santos?
specializes in. Like they're like the open world masters kind of a thing. And
so I am excited to see what GTA 6 is like what rolling around Vice City is, like how realistic it is, how many details there are. I'm really curious to see what kind of, like, for lack of a better term, like what sort of IRL integrations they bring into GTA 6. Like, is there, like, if you're a GTA 6 player, are they going to bring that into the real world somehow? I have a feeling that they might do some really cool stuff with that, but I have no idea what that would be. Just Rockstar, it's on them to impress everybody, and the bar is high. So I'm curious to see what they do. Yeah,
I will say, so that poll I put in the chat so far, there's 12 votes. 83% says yes, there's something I'm looking forward to more than GTA 6, which I think to be fair, I think GTA 6 is one of those games that it's like everybody's looking forward to at least a little bit. You know, like, it's like there's nobody that isn't going to play it. But is there anybody that's like, oh my God, that's my game? You know, like, it's one of those, I think it's like the unanimous ones, you know? So maybe that's the situation.
Sorry, could I say one thing? I do think GTA is one of those games that it's going to get, like, the media is going to be biased towards GTA 6. It's going to get like 10s. It's going to get praised across. It's not. There might be a few outliers that give it negative reviews, but I would encourage everyone when they play GTA 6 to just like judge it for themselves. Don't listen to the media hype and go from there. That's what I'm going to do with it, anyways.
So we're on third party here, which is kind of like the lot of things. And Creature's like, what I'm looking forward to comes out in less than a week. I want, what is that, Creature? Because I feel like January's a very calm month, but in terms of, Nick, I have something to bring up later on your desk when we talk about something, but it's going to transition perfectly in there. I think that's dope, but I don't want to say what it is. Let's see if the chat can figure it out. But if I make Nick full screen for a second here, what is it? 3, 2, okay. But anyway, Creature says Tales of Grace's F remaster. So we're eventually going to get to Nintendo because there is another Nintendo remaster as well. Like, remasters are a thing, but in terms of third party, So what are we looking forward to more than
Yeah.
GTA 6?
Yeah,
You know?
I see, that's the real thing, because I said what I wasn't looking forward to, but at the end of the day, what am I in? And there's a couple in there. There's two major ones, and I'm gonna go with something that is a known entity for me, and that's gonna be Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
Dude.
And
Dude.
that clearly, and I know it's a front runner. It's not it's very big in the forefront, like everybody knows about it. It's not like a dark horse sleeper. But I just think I loved Ben Starr so much in Final Fantasy.
Can I ask you a question
16.
really quick? Does that show up on your like Twitter feed a lot for some reason?
It used to, not as much anymore. I'm not on
It
Twitter
shows up like
anymore,
once
though.
every 4 days for me. A couple
Yeah.
days. Like I'm like, stop.
Yeah.
Like you guys are using a lot of marketing. I don't know.
Yeah, they probably got a huge budget. I don't even know who's publishing it. If it's like an EA situation or what's going on. If it's Square or it's very curious to me.
It's
But,
totally like it's not a major third party.
Yeah, it's like
C2 says
like a
yes
sleeper one.
constantly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I would see it all the time, and I see, especially when it was first announced, it was all over the feed, and you'd see like the slow time, action cut scenes and what they would do, and it's just I like the style of it and the idea of like it could potentially be awful. Who knows what it's going to be like? Nobody's had hands on it yet, or nobody who has had hands on it has published anything and talked about it, but if they take the best of like Western RPGs and merge it with the idea of like what a Persona is or what we enjoy from like, the Atlas styled Persona game combat systems, it could be incredible. And I'm just very curious.
I will say that's third party wise, that's definitely up there for me. And I know if Rob and Kel were here, they would vouch as well. Like it's really funny how that just hit a lot of people. Like just for the first reveal of it. I think that's really cool. I feel like it's been so rare to see a brand new IP from an unknown studio with their first reveal and so many people gravitate to it. Like that's something to behold. That's a really cool thing. And I'm in agreement with everything Nick said. Like that would be one I think of.
Isn't that
Josh,
getting
you got
shown
something?
at the I was gonna say, isn't that getting shown at the Xbox?
Yeah.
Direct?
It's
We're about to see a lot
yeah,
more of it at the Xbox
Developer
Developer
Direct.
Direct that now has third-party things, so it's no longer a first-party exclusive thing. But anyways, that's a gripe that I have. Josh, what do you
Kepler
think?
Interactive. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and it's their first game, apparently. That's what I'm saying. It's nuts how much anticipation they got when it's like their first game. The unknown publisher. It's so cool. Anyways, Josh, what do you got?
So for third party, this might surprise some people. But for me personally, I did some digging actually, because when this game popped into my head, I was like, that can't be my most anticipated third party game. But it's actually Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Hell yeah.
Which
My
is
Ubisoft dude.
I know just got delayed. Like there's a bunch of like controversy around the game for
That was a
number of
smart
reasons.
decision, though. It was in a crazy month. That was a smart decision.
Yeah, and I do think
my
that they
opinion.
are fighting an uphill battle with this game. I mean, and like people, say what you will about Ubisoft open world games, and it's mostly true. Like, but I did like Outlaws. I do think Ubisoft has learned some lessons, and they are trying to switch things up. If you played Outlaws, I don't think it was the traditional Ubisoft game that some people said it was. Anyways, it's half of the game is based around stealth, and I'm a huge stealth fan. Like that's one of my favorite genres. So I'm really hoping that Ubisoft can nail the stealth in this game, and if they can, and it's a hit, then I'm like, okay, then maybe stealth gameplay does have a home in like AAA games, because in the last like 5 years, like we just haven't seen very many AAA games that nail stealth, and so I'm really hoping that they do. Playing as like a ninja in Japan sounds awesome. So that would be my most anticipated third-party game, at least of the ones that we know for sure are coming out in 2025.
Yeah, because that's another debate too. And I will say, Assassin's Creed, like they put up a new visual of it, I think a week or two ago, sometime
Looks
pretty
great.
recently. Yeah, I was going to
way
say
better.
visually, it looks really good. Supertone says Assassin's Creed games just haven't seemed good for too long. It feels like I feel like it's just that they haven't grabbed the mainstream in a while the way they used to. That's all. Like I would argue.
interject. Sorry, go ahead.
Go for it.
Well, I was just gonna say, I mean, like, I understand what Supertone is saying in his comment there because, yeah, like Valhalla, crazy bloated game. Not a bad game, but just crazy bloated. Like, it didn't need to be the size that it was. Same thing with the Odyssey. Like those, like the Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla trilogy was just, it successively kept getting bigger for really no value. Like there was no actual value in the size versus what you would get. Like there's ton of value in. I know Josh does agree, but Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, like all of the side content there is like S tier, and there's a reason why it's that long. But what I would say to counter that, though, and most people didn't play this game because it performed really poorly for Ubisoft, and it was Assassin's Creed Mirage. Mirage, perfectly paced game. I had a personal connection with it because, you know, my family's Palestinian. And so learning about the history of Baghdad, the way that they integrated the actual history and then layered that on top of the game, it was beautifully done. And then not to mention, like Josh talks about the stealth systems in everything that they had with the skill tree and the gameplay was just razor sharp. It was incredibly well done. So and like that's what they were pitching it as, and just people didn't play it. It was a return to like older Assassin's Creed. They were merging like their new RPG styled systems with just that older styled gameplay. And it really hit for me.
Same. Yeah, I loved Mirage. And yeah, they did the stealth in that was very similar to like going back to Syndicate, which another game with decent stealth mechanics. So yeah, I hope that they can nail that. And I did read that they're trying to make it about as long as Origins, which took me I think 40 hours, which is a lot shorter than the. I didn't beat Valhalla because I'm just like, screw this, man. There's too much here. Yeah.
And I don't. So there's so many games to get to. So I don't know if we could have too many of these like back and forths about like because if we want to cover like there's a lot like because what I'm hoping to do this stream is like just mention a solid like dozen or 2 dozen games, and then when we get to the end, it's like, okay, you have a gun to your head, you can only play 3. Like, what are they? You know, so just like shout outs, you know, and in that vein, you know, so I'll just say, you know, if we have top of mind things, look, for me, there was 2 that were like top of mind for third party, but there's plenty other that I can think of. But Elden Ring Shadowrain, hello? Like, but that's only because I'm a multiplayer guy. Like, I love the idea of that, of just like just a circle of closing in. It's kind of like FromSoft's attempt at just let's make a multiplayer game. Yeah, it's kind of, if you want to move on from the Elden Ring universe, then it's too bad. But it's literally a boss rush mode, which is all anybody like wants from Elden Ring. It's like literally a game that's just made for like people that they were trying to make this game with mods, but okay, let's make the official version of it, you know? So I definitely love that. And Split Fiction, the next game from Joseph Ferris and Hazelight. Just if you want a great co-op game, that's coming out in March, and I hope it's good. The Game Awards, I wasn't like, the trailer didn't grab me. It's more so what people were saying about it. Like some people played it, and I love what they had to say about it more than what the trailer showed. But
it just like, could you tell us briefly like what their takeaway was?
Why are you feeling the same thing?
I am not sure I'm sold on Joseph Ferris games. Like I think that
whoa. Have you played any?
I played It Takes Two like extensively. And I will say
holy,
this is very loaded. This is very loaded. I will say I played It Takes Two with a former partner with my ex. And so It Takes Two has nothing to do with why our relationship didn't work out. Just to be clear for chat.
Wait, were you dating at the time, or were you exes at the time?
Yeah, we were together at the time.
Look,
when we
you
played
can't
it.
put negative feelings about that towards Joseph Ferris. That's not fair.
I'm not, and I'm not. But I am saying, like, from what I remember playing, like, technically, mechanically, it was a super sufficient game. But just like, I wonder about the writing sometimes. Like, and what I want to do is I want to play A Way Out to see if, like, okay, like, is there something here that I'm taking away that I didn't get from It Takes Two that maybe I can think about for Split Fiction? But it's just like another one of those where I'm like, I could take it or leave it. It could be an easy pass for me, potentially.
Interesting. Because It Takes Two for me is like, that is the best co-op game I've ever played in my life, no question. And Josh and I experienced that together. That was cool.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So I hope Split Fiction lives up to either or. Like, I hope if it's slightly less than It Takes Two, I'll be happy. If it's better than A Way Out, I'll be happy. Because A Way Out's like a 7 for me. It Takes Two is a 9. So if it's anywhere in between there, cool. But yeah, we'll see. And but yeah, just third party wise, any other like mentions? Because so like we haven't brought up Monster Hunter Wilds, and I know there's tons of people that are looking forward to that. Gaz is here. Apparently, he said hi to you, Josh. He's like, Quest mode is alive,
dude.
I thought he joined us. But yeah, Gaz says Split Fiction is going to be better than It Takes Two for sure. So that's a bold statement, Gaz. I hope you're right. I will see. But yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds. He's saying Split Fiction will be better than It Takes Two. If it is, man, that'll be nuts. Like that's a high bar. If you're not Nick, that's a high bar.
Yeah. We'll see. I think, like you said, Monster Hunter Wilds is going to be a really interesting one. And I think that everybody who loves Monster Hunter is going to adore that game. Like, that's an easy... Like, I know that it's going to probably be an easy lock for, like, a 9 in the community, right? 9 out of 10. But
and it's Capcom, who just rarely miss.
It's Capcom. They're not making bad games right now. They're just not. Like, none of their teams are doing badly. But yeah, like that's really good. Okay, so something that I was like torn on whether or not I was going to talk about Clair Obscur Expedition 33 or this game, and it's Rematch by Absolver. It's Absolver's
I listed that too. I listed it too.
So I recently have started playing more of Rocket League because it's become like a family game for us, and so we've been playing like split screen co-op for Rocket League, and this is literally just Rocket League with people. They get out of the cars and they start playing Rocket League.
And
so
from the Sifu developer of all people, like that's
exactly. It's such a diversion. It's such a split it's fascinating to me what they're going to do with this. Like, what is it going to become? Is it just going to be a live service type experience? I'm utterly fascinated, but with the way that they understood the mechanics and how like they implemented Kung Fu into the combat of Sifu, I'm like, this is going to be the best soccer game potentially ever. Or the
I
best
just
Rocket
wonder,
League game,
man, like the gameplay, it looked pretty straightforward, but then again, I'm like, I feel like in soccer games, you usually have like the God's eye view, but this is like from the third person perspective. Yeah. And I think they did confirm you just play. I'm not sure about this though. You play as just a person on the team. So you're not like bouncing around between all the players. I love that because you feel the pressure of that. Again, multiplayer guy here, but like you feel the pressure of letting down your team if you do a terrible pass or something. It's like, no. Yeah. So we'll see. Steffi's like, well, for me, I'm glad and I'm interested in the story of Split Fiction this time than just the gameplay. The story, the two writers. And Gaz is following up on that saying, I think the story will be a lot more engaging in Split Fiction. I mean, look, as a look, I had parents that divorced, man. That game was interesting. No, the story wasn't fantastic, but the gameplay was definitely. But Josh, is there any like shout outs from you? Like just other like quickie?
Yeah, so
things
this
that
game
came
was
to
on
mind.
This game was on my low key list, but it's technically not an indie game, so it's kind of I guess it is more of a low key third party. And for me, like I'm actually looking forward to this, maybe even more so than Assassin's Creed, but I wouldn't say it's like a must play. Is the Tomb Raider 4 through 6 remasters? Because like Tomb Raider, the original, it's one of my all time favorite games. I played the remaster that came out last year. It was my if I was ranking my games of the year in terms if I was including remasters, that actually would be my game of the year. Like they nailed it. Wow. That game is so special to me, the original one. One of the reasons why I got into video games in the first place. So the fact that they're doing the next 3 in the series is super exciting to me. But I'm probably one of the few people that would put that on like the top of my most anticipated games list.
There's Devin May brings up one that I don't think, I have a feeling at least none of us will bring up, but Civilization 7 is happening, which it's been ages since the last one, and that is a major franchise. It's a very, different franchise, but it is definitely worth shouting out as well.
I think it was like video crack too, by the way. If you've never played Civilization, man, that is.
It's video crack. Oh, you mean like addictive?
Yes. Yeah.
I love Command and Conquer, and I've never played a Civilization game before, so I'd be dreadfully curious to see if I'm gonna get sucked into 7.
It's very different from C&C, but Civ is no joke. It is good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad Nick mentioned Rematch because that was a quick shout out to me. But another quick shout out is Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. I think that looks super cool.
Okay.
That's speaking of kind of somewhat low key, but it's not like indie necessarily. But it's had enough marketing. It's been in 2 Xbox programs, and it looks really cool to me. Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. It's this action game that you play as a girl, and I don't know the premise, but it's just super colorful. Devil May Cry style action, but also a hope. It's not even necessarily hope, but at a board meeting or shareholder meeting or something like that, they did say that Judas is supposed to come out this year.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and everybody.
If that happens, that's at the top of the list for me. If that happens, that's pretty high up there.
Nobody's talking about it though, which is like kind of strange. Like there's been no marketing, there's been no whispers, nobody's even nobody's even mentioned it as like something
they had a month that they sent some journalists to preview it. But that was the last like big word we got. But Judas, if people don't know, it's basically the next game from the creator of BioShock, and it's a totally new idea from him, and it just seems promising. We'll see, but if that comes out this year, that's definitely one I would think of. Josh, Steffi is with you in the chat. She says, "Woo, nice choice. I'm a fan of Tomb Raider too." So you got somebody to back you up there.
I had a couple of like. Sorry, you were gonna say something, Josh.
No, I was just glad to have a
fellow Tomb Raider
kindred spirit in the chat.
Yeah. To a fellow Tomb Raider aficionado and Steffi. I had a couple of low key bangers that I'm kind of hyped for that I hope you guys can share with me. The first one is Little Nightmares 3. Although I say that super, super tentatively because it's not
different
the original
studio
creators making that one. It's just Bandai, and we don't know who the actual like dev team within Bandai is doing it.
It's the people that made the Dusk Till Dawn, the game that like it's a bunch of teenagers dying in the woods in a PlayStation studio. Until Dawn. It's the developers of that. Yeah, they're developing that game.
It's super massive is developing little. That's so interesting to me.
Yes.
That is so interesting because like, how are they going to handle it? Like, and I just played for our Spooktober episode on FNGC. I just played the Little Nightmares 1 and 2, and it's a deeply, deeply interesting world that they created in those first 2 games. So I'm really, really curious to see like where they're going to go with this third one. What's going to happen to 6, like everything. And like, are we going to get answers? Are we not? I would like for us not to get answers because it's not like a let's solve the mystery kind of situation. It's more just like appreciate the overwhelming dread type game. But that's a sleeper. It might hit, it might not. But then the other one for me is I'm praying. And I think Kelvin and Rob would appreciate me saying this. MGS Delta Snake Eater. I'm hoping that hits because if it does, I'm going to play all the Metal Gears. That's what's going to happen because I've never played any before.
That didn't even make my list, and I'm shocked. Like, I looked at so many lists of games coming out in 2025, and I don't think I saw that on the lists. Yeah, that would be definitely be a shout out for me.
Yeah,
we'll see. There's lots. But just because we're kind of like teetering on it, I wanted to also shout out, and by the way, to Septic Sauce or Devin May, Steffi, Supertone, and Vince Bill. I like that name. Thank you guys for being here. And what's a third-party game you're looking forward to a lot? But I do want to shout out. I have these like little sound effects that I wanted to use. Oh, look at that. Like little indie or low-key games. Like we kind of were teetering on that before. Like, Little Nightmares, debatably that, but Bandai Namco, and it's been at events, but things that we may have only seen once or don't get that marketed, or you think is that indie style. Yes or no? And I'm going to put a poll in the chat. Does Hollow Knight Silksong come out this year?
I don't think that game comes out, period. Like, I hate to say it because I know that there are some Hollow Knight diehards out there, but it's been so long and we've heard absolutely nothing from Team Cherry that it's just, I just doubt that it's going to come out. And if it does come out, like, my fingers are crossed that people really like it and they enjoy it. So
yeah,
there's that.
I say it. There's a couple games that I bring up almost every year, and Silksong is one of those. Not that I'm looking forward to, but I'm like, I have faith it's gonna happen in the last quarter of the year, kind of thing. But yeah, spoilers. I am working on an Xbox roadmap video, and I do place my bets that that game does release in an absolutely wild September. But I don't know, Josh. Yes or no? You think it'll happen?
I'm tempted to say yes. Like, the phrase, pardon the expression here, but the phrase that comes to mind is like, shit or get off the pot, dude. Like, you got to make this game release somehow. So I think that I think it comes out in 2025, late 2025.
Yeah, that's what I would say, late 2025. Supertone says, I only just played Hollow Knight and learned everything that's going on. I have no expectations. The chat says, 100% no, they're with Nick. It does not come out this year. Oh, man, dude. Well, there was one that said yes in the last minute. I don't know. We'll see. Steffi also says, I doubt that it happens this year. What I also question, and speaking of Steffi, as a fellow Celeste fan, like 2 years ago at, I think it was the Game Awards 2022, we got revealed what the next game from the Celeste studio is working on with Earthblade. I hope that comes out this year too, but that's another one that's been kind of dead silent, because Celeste is an amazing game, but and this is their attempt of having kind of like a Metroidvania in that art style. I hope it happens this year. It was supposed to come out, I think, in 2024. They even like ended the trailer with 2024. So, didn't make that. So hopefully that means it's coming soon. But Josh, how about you start? Like, is there any like low-key or indie things that, you're looking forward to this year or hope come out this year that has a good chance?
So this is definitely coming out, and this doesn't look like an indie game, but I looked it up, and it is developed by an independent studio, and they publish their own games.
Okay.
And one of the most underrated series out there, bar none, in my opinion, and that is Sniper Elite Resistance. Comes out in less than a month.
That's the January.
Are you guys Sniper Elite fans? Because I don't know many people that have played Sniper Elite 2.
Nah.
Yeah, so Sniper Elite, when I discovered that I like stealth games, I played Sniper Elite 3. I was like, it wasn't that great. Played some of Sniper Elite 4, and I was like, oh, this is actually fun. And then Sniper Elite 5 came out, and I devoured that game. I just played that game nonstop for like a month straight. And one of the few games I played the DLCs of. Like, I challenge anyone to download that game, whether you are playing on console or PC, and just, it looks as good as any AAA game out there, outside of maybe the character models, but the environments are gorgeous. The stealth is awesome. The sniping is fun. The objectives in the levels are cool. And they're coming out with, it's not Sniper Elite 6. It's called Sniper Elite Resistance, but it's a full Sniper Elite game. It comes out, I think, January 30th, like end of this month. So
and you could basically play like the past couple Sniper Elites on Game Pass, and that one's coming to Game Pass day one as well. Resistance, and also from that same studio, Atomfall.
Yeah, which also looks super cool. I mean, we don't know
much about it. How are they doing this? I don't understand.
So
nuts.
That would definitely be it. The other game that, like, I just did some research on this, but does anybody remember a few years ago, maybe even 3 years ago, the developers of Shovel Knight, Yacht Club Games, revealed a like top-down Zelda-like that they were working on, and I can't find out when that game is scheduled to come out. But that game pops into my head every now and then. I'm like, when are they going to tell us more about that game? It's called Minna the Hollower, and it's basically like a game modeled after A Link to the Past, or not A Link to the Past, the Game Boy one, A Link's Awakening. So
I did just learn about that like a week ago, and I was like, ooh, that's a contender potentially, because Shovel Knight, people love Shovel Knight, and so it's a very notorious studio behind them. I want to shout out Nate State Games. He pointed out, where is Doki V? Let's freaking go, Nate. Like, I totally forgot about that game. I don't know if that's indie, but let's freaking go. I want that game out. I don't know if I'll play it, but I just wanted out to hear what people say about it. If you have no idea what Doki V is, it's just like super, not traditional like 2D anime style, but just like Unreal Engine demo level of just anime figures skating around a town doing these big fantasy magic fights. Like, it looks ridiculous. But yeah, shout out to that. Totally.
I forgot about that game. Yeah, I remember when they showed that. That does look pretty interesting.
Doki V, man, it looks like one of those games that it's like, is this a tech demo or what even is this? Is this an actual game?
What are we doing here, y'all?
Yeah, Super Toad, is it Pokemon? It looks like as if Pokemon was on Unreal, but looks way better than Power World. Yeah. But anyway, Nick, how about like any like low key or indie things that come to your mind?
Oh man, there's a couple of bangers. I mean, this is going to be, you kind of stole it from me earlier. You stole my thunder talking about Earthblade from the developers of Celeste. But I mean, that is going to be, if it comes out this year, and we don't know when it does come out, I'm 100% confident that's going to be excellent, because Celeste was excellent. We talked about a game offline, and you told me that I was making a big statement about it, and I genuinely mean this from the bottom of my heart. I literally just played Citizen Sleeper from Fellow Traveler, and it actually changed my neurons, the way that my brain was processed. Like, I love that game so much. It's an excellently written game. It's deeply like sad and dark. It is a dystopic future of like the far-flung capitalist society of humans who live in space, and it takes place on a space station. I'm not going to say anything more than that, because people need to play this game. It's on Game Pass. If you have that service, go ahead and play it. And I think it's relatively cheap, like maybe $10-15 on Steam if you don't have Game Pass. But it's an incredible game, and the sequel is coming out on the 31st. So I am really excited for that game. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you just experienced this for like the past month, and that's crazy, because you have like immediately the sequel happening. That's awesome.
Exactly. And this was completely by accident. This has been sitting on my backlog for ages, and I just finished a bunch of like crazy games and a lot of editing work and then a lot of other stuff, and then I decided I'm going to treat myself and I'm going to play this game, and because I bounced off of it once because I was like, I'm not really interested. It is a visual novel, for lack of a better word. It is technically a visual novel. You don't like have a character that you control and move it around, but it is like a narrative decision, survival, crafting, story-based game. It's kind of a lot of the gameplay relies on you using dice, and the dice that you roll on any given day allow you. It gives you probability on the actions that you can take, and it's really interesting. And yeah, it's just all of the characters are so real.
A bit of D&D
it's so
there,
human.
Feels like.
What was that?
That feels like a bit of D&D there. I don't know D&D, but I've heard that's how D&D works. You know, it just depends on what you.
Yeah, it's got some of those aspects in there, so it's definitely that's a really big one that I'm looking forward to. Another smaller one from Toge Productions is Coffee Talk Tokyo. Really enjoyed Coffee Talk 1 and 2. They're excellent. I actually had the pleasure when I was at PAX East this year meeting some of the teams, some of the developers. If I'm not mistaken, they might be Indonesian, but they might be located in Singapore, where they do all of their work, but they are incredible. And I love the aesthetic and the style and just like the cozy game nature of it. When it comes down to indies, it's really well done. It is kind of like on its face in terms of the writing isn't going to be as deep or as philosophically interpretive as you could get from a Citizen Sleeper, but I would say that Coffee Talk is a really good vibey game that you could throw up if you're doing a stream, and it has awesome music in the background, and you can just be like, all right, we're gonna make some lattes today, and then have conversations with cool people that come in the shop. So that's a really good one.
Just a couple speed runs for me, just like, because there's not really a main thing that stands out for me here, but just speed run of a couple. 33 Immortals, that is hopefully happening soon. That was shown at an Xbox, I think 2023 showcase. I can't remember when. You get to play with 33 people and kind of do a roguelike experience made from the people that did Spiritfarer. Skate Story is one I think Devolver Digital's publishing. That looks nuts. I don't think I'll end up playing it, but I really want to hear how it does. Like, just visually, you play as some kind of like diamond-looking character, and the whole world just looks like you're going through freaking space. It looks nuts. And Be Gone Beast is a game nobody's gonna put on their list as just a neat little co-op. It's not like a horror game, but it's kind of like a platformer horror, but cartoony. It's kind of like a fun co-op horror game, basically. Be Gone Beast. And then finally, from Focus Entertainment, and another spoiler from my Xbox video, I hope this is a Game Pass get this year, because it just feels like it would be Mio Memories in Orbit. This was shown at a Nintendo Indie World, I think, and it's a Metroidvania, but it has this scratchy art style that almost like a Telltale style thing, but it's a Metroidvania, and you play as like a mysterious android or something, and you have no idea, but it's got that Ori movement, and it looks super cool. Those are like 4 super like rapid fire shout outs from me that I just wanted to mention really quick. Josh, any final one, if you have any, or move on?
No, but that did bring up the Ori developer, maybe their game. I think it's in early access right now, and I'm forgetting what it's called. But
No Rest for the Wicked.
Yes, if that hits 1.0 this year, I'll definitely check that out.
I hope. I actually have it. Like they can I say this publicly? Yeah. I have a code for it, and I didn't actually get to it because I'm weird about early access, man. I'm like, I don't want to like this and be forced to stop. Like, I did that with Grounded, and I could tell there was more. I'm like, I was liking Grounded, but then I stopped, and I'm like, so
hard to go back to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So. There is an indie early access game on PC, and I don't play much on PC, but have either of you heard of a game called Gloomwood?
No.
It's like a first person.
Familiar.
It's like a first-person immersive sim that's basically supposed to play a lot like the old-school Thief games, but modernized, and it's in early access, and it sounds right up my alley, and I'm waiting for that to hit 1.0, and I will dive right in. But people say that the early access version is amazing, so that's one for me. Gloomwood, look it up if you like stealth, immersive sims, that sort of gameplay.
I don't know why, but when you said I'm going to dive right in, I thought you said I'll die when it comes out. I was like, whoa.
No.
I haven't heard that level of excitement from Josh in a while.
No.
But shout out to Ninja Air, Nate, Septic, Super. If you guys are still here, let us know, and whatever indie or Lowkey game you're looking forward to. And there's a lot of folks. I saw somebody earlier, I forgot who, that was saying, hey, Double Fine might be working on multiple projects. So
yeah.
Let's talk about the big 3 for a moment here, because they're all in very different circumstances where I feel like Nintendo, we're just waiting for the thing. PlayStation, it's just kind of like we don't want to say yet, but Xbox, on the other hand, we know a lot. So let's talk about Xbox for a moment and what they got cooking in terms of a platform holder that, yes, is kind of going multi-plat. I know Josh's most anticipated game of the year is going to be Indiana Jones.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
For PlayStation,
you don't have an Xbox,
5.
Josh?
I do, but the HDMI port crapped out, and so I haven't gotten it fixed.
Oh, gotcha.
That's a lie. I thought it was just because you want the freaking trophies.
Well, that's true. I probably, if I still had my Game Pass subscription, I probably would have played Indiana Jones by now. But when my Xbox crapped out, I realized I just didn't use Game Pass as much as I would like, so I stopped paying for it, and I haven't gotten it fixed. So,
yeah, I should take
had that
it to a
game
shop
come
or
out
something.
any earlier, it would have been easy lock for Game of the Year.
Yeah, I can't wait to play
on a lot of lists.
Yeah,
at least
it would definitely be a contender for sure. But yeah, in terms of Xbox, we like. It's like I said, we're here to talk about like the games we're looking forward to most. But like in terms of the big 3, we have a decent roadmap, and we're about to get even more definitive a roadmap in a couple weeks with their developer direct. But is there any, like, what is probably your most anticipated Xbox games this year, or one that you think could come out? How about you, Josh?
Well, Fable's been slotted as 2025, hasn't it? Didn't they?
Yes, it has.
Didn't they put a firm? Then it's got to be Fable for me. technically it is Indiana Jones. Like that's the one I'm looking forward to the most, but that's kind of cheating because it came out already.
Sure.
So yeah, Fable for me. It just I've never played a Fable game, and everything I hear about it sounds awesome. Having we were talking offline earlier. I've kind of lost my interest in JRPGs, so I would like to dive deep into a big, gigantic Western RPG. I know Avowed is coming out, and that does look cool, but I feel like Fable is going to be if Xbox has a flagship RPG, I feel like it's going to be Fable. I hope Avowed kicks ass, don't get me wrong, but yeah. I also like the tone, the humorous tone of it, and if they said that was a gameplay trailer, it's hard for me to believe that, but if that's true, that game's going to look amazing too.
I'm in full belief that it was a gameplay trailer, but I'm also with you that it's hard to believe. But I do think that's their big flagship game of the year because it's not in the developer direct currently. I really thought it would be, but now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh, actually, that might be their attached one this year of how Starfield was in 2023 and Black Ops 6 was last year. That might Fable might be their one this year, and I'm looking forward to it. I've never experienced a Fable other than through my uncle, but I hope it's good, man. It's Playground Games' first RPG ever, but it's also a studio that has not missed in terms of critical reception. So
that's I should have mentioned that. Yeah, Playground Games, they know what they're doing.
I mean, you could argue that Forza Horizon is just an RPG with cars. You know what I mean? Like you go to the point, you collect the stuff, you level up. It's gonna be good.
It is.
It's gonna be good. It's a car RPG, man.
Somebody said it really good, and they're like, "Look, I have no interest in cars or racing games whatsoever, but if they can make me care about something as much as I did about cars in that game, then that tells you something." like so maybe that's a basis. But
yeah.
Nick, you got one that you're looking forward to most in terms of Xbox?
I have one that I am looking forward to the most, but before I say it, I did want to ask you guys. And I promise that I'm not rage baiting with this question, but do you think that all of the Xbox first party titles are going to go multi-plat?
Eventually, yes, I do.
Eventually,
okay.
Not day one.
Okay. You don't know that. You don't think they're going to push it up? What's the window of their exclusivity on consoles?
It depends on which one it is. Like Outer Worlds 2 is supposed to come out this year, which awesome. I don't know how Obsidian's doing this shit, but they are.
They are.
You got Avowed and Outer Worlds 2 as two RPGs come from Obsidian this year, supposedly. Yeah. But anyway, but at the end of that trailer, you see PS5, and I think that's because Outer Worlds 1 was a PS5 game. Doom the Dark Ages is coming to PS5 day one, but that's also because the previous Dooms were PlayStation games. So I think it just depends if the IP, like Minecraft, if it has connection with PlayStation. If it doesn't, then it'll pull in Indiana Jones where you got like a 6-month window or something. But anyways, what was the game you're going to say?
And right on that note, with Obsidian, my most anticipated is Avowed. I really, really liked the Outer Worlds. I think it was a game that got slept on and let down because a lot of big names kind of were just like meh on it. But I think that it was actually pretty brilliant. And they had really good ideas and like great actual gunplay in that game, and I think that's going to be exciting, and I think that's indicative of what we're going to get from Avowed in terms of how they're doing the high fantasy. I think that they're going to approach it differently, and also one of the characters is the voice actor for Garrus Vakarian, so he could be my game of the year just off of that alone. But no, yeah, I'm really, really excited for that, and I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from you, Tony, but I love the Doom from id Software, and I think the Doom the Dark Ages is going to be it's just outstanding. Like there's nothing to say about it. It's just going to be you're going to rip and tear, and it's going to be great.
Another studio that doesn't really miss. I will say I put a poll in the chat because I am curious if people are looking forward to in terms of Obsidian, Avowed, or Outer Worlds 2 more. Because that's funny, Nick. You just said you loved Outer Worlds, and do you think you're looking forward to Avowed more than Outer Worlds 2? If they both happen this year?
I think I am looking forward to it because of the promise of like it being a completely new property. And also I watched an interview with both of the directors for Avowed, and I really, really liked what they had to say about their methodology and approach for their gameplay design and how they were kind of coming in and like integrating the game. And also another thing that I think makes me a little bit more excited for Avowed is the idea that that they've delayed it over time because they wanted to get it right. Like I think originally it was supposed to come out last year, and then they said, no, we're going to keep cooking on it some more. And I think that's
well,
great. And
it was also because they
prosper
felt
because
like
of
they were
that.
releasing in a crazy month. That was the other reason too. So
For sure.
but
For sure.
great. It gives them more time to cook. Yeah.
Exactly. More time to quality control and just do everything that we need to do. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the dual wands. Like the dual, like
Oh,
the
dude,
weapon
the idea.
customization looks sick, dude. I love just like, oh, if you want to have this, that, I love that. Just juggle. If you want to have dual wands, go for it. I'm like, that's so cool.
Yeah, I never played Harry Potter, the Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy game, so this is going to be my Harry Potter potentially.
Yes. I asked the chat and they're kind of split. They're like 40% Avowed, 60% Outer Worlds 2. Interesting. But I see Nate earlier saying, to quote KBG, it's every Fable.
Yeah.
I did say that when I saw Fable. But yeah, Nick, you jumped in on, not to steal your thunder. Yeah, Doom the Dark Ages. I am the shooter McGrouper. I am the Halo. I am the.
Are you the first person guy? Like, is first person shooting like your favorite format? Is that what
it
would you say that?
depends? I love Gears, and I love like when Battlefront back in the day was third person. Like it just depends. But I back in the day, I would say my favorite genre was shooter, and sometimes it still is. I definitely love being my shooter. I still play the finals. I freaking love the finals. But but Doom specifically just has this vibe that is just unmatched. Like a third party thing we could have said earlier was Killing Floor 3. That's happening this year. That is a close contender of that vibe, but I just Doom the Dark Ages, id Software, they haven't missed so far since 2016, and I'm looking forward to it, man. And especially if they have learned about I think there was an interview that they said that like we heard people weren't too into the platforming in Eternal, so we're gonna ease back on that. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
And what other game do you have that you can freaking crush a skull and shoot bullets out with it? Come on.
Yeah.
But Supertoad's like, man, Doom but medieval? Say no more. My most anticipated game. Exactly. A medieval Doom, but you still have the guns. Come on. Yeah. It's such a sick idea.
It's gonna be insane.
There was that one flak gun in the trailer where you stick a skull in it and it crushes it up, and that's what you fire at people. Like that's so badass.
Oh my god! The shield is what did it for me when he did
the
like
shield
it was
looks sick.
Yeah.
It's just a Captain America shield, but it's freaking metal. I will say an honorable shout out to South of Midnight. I am hoping that is like I'm hoping that's a hit, dude.
What is the gameplay supposed to be like? Is it supposed to be like turn-based?
No. South of Midnight. Very Kenna Bridge of Spirits. Kenna Bridge of Spirits.
Yes. Yeah. It's like a 3D platforming exploration game with combat. Yeah, I think Kenna is actually a good comparison.
Yeah, but apparently very linear. Like supposedly, from what they've said, it's supposed to be kind of like a straight through story that you don't like. I'm not sure actually. Good. I think you can revisit zones, but
10-15 hours, sweet spot.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly. I think that they said that. I think they said it's supposed to be like a 10 to 20 hour game. I'm like, yes. So we'll see. I'm rooting for that game in terms of like the music, especially in the art direction. Yeah, I think it looks awesome. And I was initially taken aback by like the weird stutter frame rate that they had on the cutscenes, but after I went back and rewatched, I was like, actually, this is really sick. I really like how unique it was. Yeah, Steffi's. She's saying I'm expecting the storytelling in that story to be peak in South of Midnight. I hope so. Like they went all out. They reached out to people that actually like do tell stories of the South to make it part of the game story. And they put so much. Like if you haven't watched a documentary about it, I highly recommend it. But and they've been working on this for like a very long time. And I hope somebody said it earlier. Double Fine. If there's any hopes, I hope that happens. But we'll get to that in a.
Yeah, we're gonna get to it. Okay.
We'll have a surprise category if hopefully there's time. But I just want to see really quick if earlier I said there was something on Nick's desk.
I got a full screen Nick's.
Nick's desk has a PlayStation 30th anniversary PS Portal on it.
Nice.
And that is super sick, dude. And I want to know, PlayStation this year, is that, yeah, Nick, I have you full screen. Perfect. Yep.
Sure. Okay. You can see, it for
Yeah.
Shout out to the Portal, man.
Yeah.
I love mine. I think
Dude,
it's
it's awesome. It's so good.
But other than, so, like, Ghosts of Yote, that's the game.
It's gonna be the game for me. Yeah.
I mean, the only other one that I could find or think of that's not technically a first party game, but it probably will be exclusive is Death Stranding 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good shout. Yeah.
But like that's a really interesting thing for me because Xbox seems to be super overloaded with like if everything comes out this year and everything hits the way that we expect it to hit, Xbox is going to have significantly more first party games that like people are very, very excited about versus the two heroes of Ghosts of Yote and Death Stranding 2. And maybe it's simply the fact that like we don't know what Bluepoint is doing and then we don't know when GTA 6 is dropping. So when we find these out, like everything is going to start falling into order so people can stay the fuck away from GTA 6.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like very strange that we don't, or at least in my mind, we don't know any of like crazy hype first party Sony properties that are coming out in 2025 besides those two.
Yeah. Everybody
those
forgets
two
too
are-
about Sony Bend. Like they haven't, nobody's talked about what that. I think they might be working on a live service thing. I hope not, but whatever it is.
The only things we know, I think, I'm probably missing some things, but there's things in the works like Fair Games by Haven, I think, or whatever. We could see that. I don't know if that got hit by the live service backlash or whatever. And, Naughty Dog just revealed Intergalactic, but it's like, I have a feeling that's still off. Like, that's a 2026 and beyond.
Well, and Wolverine from Insomniac.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you think Insomniac shows up this year? Because those leaks were saying either like a Venom game or Wolverine would potentially happen
I don't
this year.
think so because of the leaks. I think that they're probably wanting to rework based on like what everybody had seen in terms to try like hopefully surprise the audience. But I mean, whenever they do put out Wolverine, I know it's going to be great. But I am curious. It would be interesting if it comes out this year. I just doubt that it will. I hope they take more time because Spider-Man 2, people like that game, and I like that game, but it wasn't great, and I'm not really sure why. In my opinion, I didn't feel like it was like outstanding. Like the traversal and everything is absolutely excellent. Like a lot of those mechanics were great, but just like the story and like the actual the rendering of the cutscenes, like just there was stuff that was really, really off the mark about Spider-Man 2. So I really hope they get to take some more time with Wolverine.
I feel like PlayStation's like overdue for this, and they need to like, because they just released the PS5 Pro, like what are some games that people can really look forward to playing on there? And I feel like how Obsidian has been delivering for Xbox. They literally release something, I feel like, every year somehow, and just because they have like 3 to 5 teams just doing all sorts of different things there of different project types. It seems like that has been Insomniac Games for PlayStation, where it's like we will literally have something every other year, where freaking Spider-Man was 2018, and then Miles Morales 2020, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart 2021, and then Spider-Man 2 2023. I feel like 2025, like I feel like they could do it, and I hope that they have not a state of play, but a showcase to really do that. They need a showcase this year.
For sure.
That, on my list, literally, I had Ghost of Yote as my most anticipated game, and my second most anticipated game is a PlayStation showcase.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we got to get one, yeah.
I'm asking the chat, if you're watching, I have a poll. Do you think Insomniac will show up this year? I'm not going to close it yet, but if you're watching, vote on it, please. I'm curious.
The other thing I've read a couple of articles, and I've heard on a couple of podcasts that people have mentioned who you'd think know what they're talking about, that the Horizon multiplayer game, whatever that is not only scheduled to be revealed in 2025, but released. And I'm like, I don't know about that, but whatever Guerrilla is working on for that could be interesting.
I feel like it could.
Tony, I know you love... Go ahead. Sorry, Josh.
I was going to say, I think they basically pitched it as like Horizon / cross Monster Hunter is basically like what it is. So
Yeah,
it feels like
yeah,
it's been, which
I
by the
remember
way,
that,
I
yeah.
know, I think I put it in like the Gaming Duos Discord, and there was a whole debate about it. But I'm like, look, a Monster Hunter style game in the universe of Horizon sounds, I'm gonna swear, fucking awesome. I'm sorry.
Sounds
Like,
It sounds dope. It sounds really cool, but it's like also Monster Hunter is really good at what they do. So
Right.
we're talking about
it's an
super
aesthetic
stiff
battle,
competition.
though. You know,
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. It could be. And it probably won't be even 1-to-1. I would be willing to reckon that a Horizon multiplayer is going to be significantly easier than what you would typically expect from a Monster Hunter for the mechanics and the like kind of the deep integrated mechanics of that there. But yeah, man, I just don't know. I really hope,
It's a
and I know
question
that we're off track here, and I'm gonna just for expediency say that like when is Sony gonna stop with the live service push? Like Jim Ryan started it, and it's over and over and over again shown that like yeah, some of them hit people like Helldivers, but is Helldivers going to be a long-term money generator? I don't think so. So it's like, when are we going to pivot away from these things that have been in development for 4 or 5 years now and just be like, okay, I know that because of Concord and everything that's involved with Concord, they need to shore up a lot of millions and millions of dollars because of that. But I'm very curious as to like when we're going to stop hearing about these multiplayers from properties that are known and existing.
I think they did confirm that they are taking a bit of a step back from that. And so, yeah, there's been a bit of evidence of that too between Bungie and Naughty Dog, and I think Insomniac as well. Like they're literally, hi cat. They're taking a step back. I'm putting Nick's thing full screen. There's a cat tail. There you go, chat. Yeah, I think they are taking a step back. I wonder if Fair Games still gets to happen. I wonder if the Horizon multiplayer still happens. I don't think they're gonna totally quit them, but it's like, I hope they're just being more cautious about it. But I'm with Josh. Like, obviously, Ghost of Yote is the game, and they need a PlayStation showcase. Like, they need one. So, yeah. But, you know who's, like, a total empty space? And by the way, actually, I need to look at the chat for if Insomniac shows up this year. 80% say yes. 80%.
Interesting.
So,
Interesting.
I mean,
I would believe it, man. I feel like it's just they somehow show up every couple years. So I feel like they could. We'll see though. But in terms of Nintendo, this is another totally like we went from like oh, these are things we all know, and then PlayStation it's like big ideas, and then Nintendo it's like what the hell is like what are they holding on to? There's no Metroid like PlayStation Ghost of Yote, we need a showcase. Nintendo Metroid Prime 4, and we need a showcase. Yeah. That's literally it. That's it. I don't know
if I've ever gone into a year knowing this little about the two of the big three. Like,
yeah,
Xbox they've got their ducks in a row, but yeah, PlayStation and Nintendo. Obviously, we know why Nintendo's holding everything close to the chest, but
yeah,
it's
we're
so
gonna get it all at once.
It's so interesting too with like the leaks or the quote unquote with like not leaks, because apparently Genki is coming out saying that no, they haven't actually seen the Switch 2, but it's so interesting how Nintendo is seeing like the deluge of like interest being peaked at this point now. And like if I were in that boardroom, I would be heavily concerned of the people who do actually know, who have seen it, manufacturers or people who are like connected to third parties who know about the development, who know about the marketing, leaking this to like to 4chan or something like that, and it getting to Twitter somehow. I would be very concerned. And I want to market. I feel like it would be really important to try to move up the marketing timeline. I don't think they're going to do it because it's Nintendo and they're like the most stalwart, stubborn sons of guns that you've ever heard of. So I'm very curious to see when this happens. It's got to be soon, though. It's got to be.
It's got to be. Like, they did the Switch press conference. Well, it's weird because they revealed the Switch in October of 2016 with the whole Karen video ad, and then they had the press conference in January. So I'm hoping we know we're gonna get it revealed by the end of March. That is confirmed. Right. But it's like, what will the games be? I want to shout out Devin May, and also hi CX Cam. Devin May said for Nintendo, Pokemon Legends ZA. I forgot about that, and Metroid Prime 4 are my most anticipated games. It's like those are the two though, but I forgot Pokemon Legends ZA. That's another shout, and actually I want to shout that out because I heard I didn't play them. I played a bit of Sword and Shield, but Pokemon Legends Arceus or Arceus, however you say it. Let me know, chat.
I think it's Arceus.
Okay. I heard people loved that. And it's like, this is like a new style of Pokemon game that we've been craving. Just you trying something else with the franchise instead of the usual and just giving us a bunch of new Pokemon. And I love that they're continuing that. And here's another Legend. So, and this is one that they've been sitting on too. Instead of just releasing it the next year, they're cooking on this. And when they put the trailer on, they said just Nintendo. They didn't say Switch. They said Nintendo. So I am very eager and hoping, especially after Pal World, that this puts the pressure on them to make like, this is a good looking Pokemon game. I don't. That's a good shout.
I don't know if it's going to be good looking in the sense of, I would imagine that it would have to be optimized for the Switch 2. And we know for a fact, based on the info that they've released about the test specs, is that it's going to be significantly powerful, if not up to the standard of what we would expect from PlayStation 4. And I think that, and if Nintendo leverages their art style, that's all we really need from them. But this is also, I mean, exactly to your point, this is significant because this is the longest that the Pokemon and Game Freak have taken to produce a Pokemon game in quite a while. Taking a whole year off to do the cycle has given them significantly more time than it has previously before. I mean, it was a point there where they were releasing 2 Pokemon in a year. It was like,
hey, can I give an example of like Black Ops 6 got so well reviewed, and that was the longest they were sitting on a Call of Duty game.
Yeah,
that was the longest they cooked a Call of Duty game. So that's a good example.
And Raven is awesome too. So it's like, and I mean, and the fact that like everybody, and it's crazy because of the new gen Pokemon, Arceus is the only one I haven't played. So this might be on me to go in and get into the backlog potentially and go play some Arceus really quick. I don't know if I'll beat it or anything, but just to see what it's all about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not a Pokemon player, but didn't some of what made Arceus fun, didn't some of that make its way into Scarlet and Violet as well? Or am I totally off base on that?
I think you're right. I think you're right. It was the open world exploration style, alongside of going and fighting like the bigger enemies out in the field. I think is what people really liked about it.
Yeah, that did get integrated into Violet and Scarlet.
Gameplay wise, I think people loved Scarlet and Violet. Technically that game was a disaster. So
it was exactly.
It was actually, Scarlet was also, I mean, I know I sound like a broken record here. Scarlet and Violet was an excellently like written game. Like there were moments in that game that made me get close to tears at the end. And I was like, I should be crying over a Pokemon game. What the heck is this? What are we doing?
Can I ask?
Shame in that.
No shame at all. Men cry. Men that cry are awesome. I'm in a weird place with Metroid Prime 4 because like growing up, I loved Metroid Prime 1 and 2, and I recently played the remaster of 1, and I dropped it. Like, I just was not as into it, but I think it's just because I'm so used to the Metroidvanias I've played in recent years that have fast travel. Metroidvanias, traditionally you have to backtrack, but Metroid Prime, there was no fast travel. So you have to walk so far, and that's how it used to be. And I get for the time, it was amazing. So Metroid Prime 4, I will be excited about it if they have a dang fast travel system. I hope they do. And I also hope it's a technical showcase for the Switch 2. It'll probably be a cross-gen title because that's confirmed coming out 2025. Josh, do you think you'll play Metroid Prime 4?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, nice.
It's that'll if I don't get a Switch 2, which hopefully I do, but if I can't manage to get my hands on one, I'll play it on my Switch. Metroid Prime, I've only played the original, and I played half of Metroid Prime 2. But I do love the original. I agree. I hope they just have some quality of life improvements. My concern with Metroid Prime 4 is I thought the trailer, like, I realize it has to run on a Switch, and that's what they've got to make it work on a old piece of hardware. But I just was underwhelmed with how that trailer looked. People were commenting in the YouTube, like the trailer on YouTube, like that this is going to be a showcase for the Switch 2. I'm like, if this is a showcase for the Switch 2, like the Switch 2 is in trouble. I don't think that's the case.
I don't think so.
Like, I think the Switch 2's got to show stuff that looks basically like a PS4 Pro if it can. Anyways, that's a bit off track.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll play Metroid Prime, but I would also play. I hope they come out with. We don't know what Nintendo has in the pipeline, but everybody's been saying for a long time Metroid Prime 1 or 2 and 3 remasters. So I'm hoping for that as well. I would play. I would play those also. I'm a huge Metroid fan. It always makes me sad when I hear how few units Metroid games sell.
Which Dread turned that around, man. Dread sold really well. But that's the Switch power, I think, and that's why. Like, go ahead, Josh.
I was gonna say, and it's for Metroid, it sold well. But if you compare Metroid Dread compared to like other Nintendo first-party games, it's not that high. You know, it's like 3 million was the number they were trying to crack, and then you look at like Luigi's Mansion sold like something like 12 million. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, I think part of it is because I hate to say this, and this is gonna sound bad, but I just don't think that Samus has a real identity in the modern gaming era. And I say that with a lot of like sadness in my heart because I have not beaten a single Metroid before. I think it was like early last year, or maybe late 2022. I played Fusion and beat Fusion in the matter of like 3 or 4 days, and it turned out to be like an incredible experience. Like I didn't even know they were making games like Fusion back then, and I was just like, this is literally making me a Metroid fan as I'm playing it right now. Because like Tony, I played Metroid back in the day, bounced out of it. Don't really have a grounding point to jump into there, but I feel like I could have a lot of fun with it. I feel like if Metroid Prime 4 really, really does hit. I was curious, Josh, like what of the gameplay trailer did you think kind of was like bland, or what didn't you think was like really impressive?
I don't think he meant bland, but just it being like a showcase.
Yeah, I thought it looked like this looks like to me it just looks like a Switch game, a very impressive Switch game. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't look. And saying this is kind of unfair to Nintendo, but it just didn't look like next gen, which I'm hoping that at least compared to like, you know, Mario Odyssey, which actually looks great. I recently replayed it, or Breath of the Wild, I think is a better example, or Tears of the Kingdom. Like I thought Tears of the Kingdom, when I played that game, I'm like, this looks bad to me. It just doesn't look good, you know, and I for what people were expecting, I think from Metroid Prime 4, it doesn't look bad. It just looks like looks like it's running
like
on an old system. Which
like a Switch game.
Yeah. I also saw someone in the comments say, this looks generic. And I looked at it and I'm like, looked at some of the enemies in that game. I'm like, they just look like giant insects. And I'm like, this does look a little generic to me. Like Metroid, the old Metroid, like Super Metroid, had such a distinct look.
It's not too long of a talk on it, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't need to go on, but yeah, it just looked kind of generic to me. But I love the Metroid gameplay. I love that world. I love the sound, the music, the environments. So yeah, I'll play it. But yeah,
before just while we're on Nintendo, because and I think like art style wise, like when I play Mario Party Jamboree, I'm like, this game looks really good, and it's just that for some reason the art's and granted they don't have to do anything crazy. But I think Nintendo just knows how to make a good art style rather than great graphics. But with the Switch 2, which we're getting this year, let's just call it the Switch 2, hopefully it does have a decent jump. But I am just crossing my fingers, and I hope I'm not alone here. Just that thing launches with the new 3D Mario game. Like, please. If that launches with the next 3D Mario game, that thing is selling blockbusters.
I would say that if they had the intention of selling units, it's either a 3D Mario, it's a toss-up between that and Mario Kart 9.
Yep.
And I genuinely think that if they sell with Mario Kart 9, they'll probably push out more units than a 3D Mario, as controversial as that might be. Because it's just anybody can play Mario Kart, right? So I just feel like it is one of those things. And everybody understands what Mario Kart is. So it's a known property, and it's going to be the best Mario Kart that's ever been made. So parents are going to hear that. Everybody's going to hear that. Nintendo fans, the prospective market for the people who don't play games is through the roof. And they could break records with that.
Yeah, Devin May mentioned wouldn't mind a Mario Kart either. But also Supertone said a Punch-Out. That would be kind of cool. I've been saying it for the Switch all this time, like Earthbound, Fox. Like there's so many things that I wish the Switch would just. Pikmin 4 had it sold more copies than all the previous Pikmins combined. That's the power of the Switch. Bring back your old IP, like Steffi says in the chat. Why not a new Donkey Kong? When exactly, man? The Donk needs a new game, man. I'm with that, but we don't know. Like the Switch, we could just have a whole stream about that and what we would want for the Switch too. But I'm 100% with Nick that their launch title should be either the next Mario Kart or the 3D Mario. And Nick, I actually agree with you. The Mario Kart is a more like just everyone friendly game for sure. But who knows? Maybe Donkey Kong will be a part of the new 3D Mario.
It could be. And I would say that like when the Switch 2 presentation comes out, they gotta show games with it, right? Because they gotta show they gotta give us the reason. They gotta give us the bullets in the chamber that we're gonna buy with the gun. That's a terrible metaphor, but it's what it's gonna be, right?
They're holding it, man. It's just a pile, and it's like we have to unveil. Not yet.
But you know that all of these games are done. And that's why it's so frustrating with Nintendo and how they operate. Like, all of these games are done, and they're literally probably just in QA.
Your console's been shown so
however
much.
long.
Just unplug. Yeah. Just unplug.
I would say that...
No, go ahead,
Josh. Well, I was just going to say that like my last point is that I feel like the strongest likelihood is that they launch the Switch 2 with a Mario Kart 9, and then they announce the 3D Mario to come out either summer... or if the Switch 2 launches this summer, it'll come out holiday. That's where my head is at.
Yeah, I think that. So I think back to the Switch, which launched with Breath of the Wild, and then like 6 months later, or around holiday, Mario Odyssey came out. So I feel like they could do that, where instead of Breath of the Wild, or instead of a Zelda game, they launch it with Mario Kart, and then a little while later they bring out a Mario, because Mario Odyssey came out. That means it came out in 2017, which
it did. And that's the thing. I think that's the reason the Switch 2 sold so good, is that 2017 was its launch year, and it did awesome its launch year. Here's Splatoon 2, here's Breath of the Wild, here's Super Mario Odyssey, here's a new Yoshi game, here's a new Kirby game. They went nuts, man. Also, you both are frozen. Is this a problem with me? Oh, no. Oh, wait. You guys are coming back. We're lagging. Something's happening. I don't know. Chat. Devin, Steffi, Super, what happened to them? Oh, actually, here. Maybe I can... But yeah, chat. Basically, I am... I'll try to see if I can fix this while we're doing this in the meantime. But, yeah, I don't know. Like, I really hope the new Switch... hang on. I'm trying to unfull screen myself so I can fix these guys. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I don't know what Switch 2 is going to do, and I hope it launches with something really good. But, here, I'm going to try to end our call. Let's end our call and jump back in. Anyways, though, sorry, I'm just trying to fix this. So yeah, let me know, like, what would be the ideal Switch 2 title for you as we come to the end here, that the three of us hopefully figure out what is our most...
You sound good. I can hear you.
Yes, I believe. Yeah. Yes, that's all we needed to do. That was freaky, but
sweet.
But now I need to figure out how to get you guys. There we go. Now we're good. Hopefully. Oh, no, don't make... Well, okay, I just have to rearrange a little bit. But, so now that we've gone over all that shenanigans, now we come to the part where if this whole year, and I want you to, like, genuinely think, like, you're married, and she's like, look, you can only play 3 games this year, otherwise I divorce you. Then it's like, well, look, I'm getting a divorce. But, like, just think of a circumstance where literally you can only play 3 2025 releases this year. What would they be? Josh, how about you?
Oh man, so the one that I wrote down. So here's what I wrote down before we got on the call. It was Assassin's Creed.
Sweet.
It was Assassin's Creed, the Tomb Raider reboots, which for me that's I gotta play those, and then Metroid Prime 4. But I'm the conversation around Doom Eternal has me wonder, or Doom the Dark Ages has me wondering if I should swap Assassin's Creed with Doom the Dark Ages.
I would say that you
Josh,
know that you're
do it.
getting quality from id Software. We don't know if
But-
Assassin's Creed is going to give you that burger.
But
to bite into,
Josh likes the Ubisoft open worlds. He likes those. He genuinely
I do,
does.
but I get fatigued by them eventually, and this one it's that stealth ninja gameplay that if they nail that and it's not on my list, I'm gonna be disappointed. So we'll keep it like that. We'll keep Assassin's Creed. Plus, like that's the one big. If it's Doom Eternal and those other two, then those are all three like very linear, very contained, not really long games. So if I need one game this year that could give me 40, 50, 60 hours, that would probably be Assassin's Creed. So yeah, we'll keep it to those. I hope that list changes. I actually think that
yes.
I hope that there are some games that aren't announced yet that come out that I'm like that replace at least Assassin's Creed. But yeah, those
Very
are
well
my
could
three.
Yeah. I also forgot to add a second rule to this. Chat, you have to pay attention to what our three drafts are. And you have to let us know whose you align with the most between Josh, Nick, and me. So Josh said, we're not trying to win the chat over, just hypothetically. If let's say you're at GameStop and we are three different packages, you hear the three games that are collected. What is like the package that you would take with you for 2025? So Josh is sharing Assassin's Creed Shadows, the Tomb Raider remasters, and what was the third one? Oh, Metroid Prime 4.
Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah. For me, and then we get to Nick, for sure Doom the Dark Ages. Like no question. That is like I must play that this year. That is a must. It's beyond that I debate. I feel like, just again, because I'm the multiplayer guy, that Elden Ring Night Rain, that's probably going to be a must. I love the concept of it so much because literally that's all I wanted from Elden Ring is a boss rush mode, and that's literally what that game is. And it's a roguelike too, which I also like. And look, if Double Fine announces something, that will jump in the number 3. If Double Fine announces at the Developer Direct, that'll be the number 3. But without it, I would probably say at the end of the day, I am going to say Grand Theft Auto 6. That sounds very vanilla.
Okay.
But it's just because it's only because
sense.
when I played Red Dead Redemption 2, I couldn't believe that game. I could not believe it. That blew me away. And it's like, while this isn't my most anticipated game of the year, I feel like I must play it because just that cadence of Rockstar. Every one of their games, I'm other than maybe GTA 5. I'm with you guys at GTA 5. But every one before and after that, I'm like, I don't know how you did this. This is wild. So I'm going to have that faith that I might have that feeling again. So I will say Grand Theft Auto 6, Doom the Dark Ages, and Elden Ring Night Rain. And we can share,
awesome
too,
picks,
by the
Tony.
way. We can share.
Those
we
are
don't
awesome
have to.
picks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I totally
you,
get
Nick?
what you're saying about Grand Theft Auto 6 to the extent of like it's gonna be a game. And also, you talk about I'm allotted 3 games throughout the year. GTA 6 is one of those where you know for a fact you're gonna have an open world to like explore
You're going to have
and
so
find
much content. You're going to have so
millions of
much content.
secrets. So much content that's just packed away, whether it's going to be, generated or if it's going to be like crafted, curated content, whatever the case may be, you're going to get a banger with GTA 6. So I respect that 100%. For me, and it's such an interesting mind space because like limiting myself to 3, I beat 25 games last year put 100 hours plus into multiple of those games. I know it's very modest. I know some people have beaten like 50, 60 games and stuff. And I think that's personally insane because it's like, how do you live? But regardless, all that aside, I think that there's a few out there that I have to play. I know I have to play. And the first one on my list is Ghost of Yotei. I have to play that game.
Yeah.
I loved Ghost of Tsushima so much. I know for a fact that I'm going to love this game, and my hope is that not only they're going to have like the main story that's probably going to be 50 to 60 hours for, maybe like a pseudo completion, a platinum playthrough, 50, 60 hours. But then they're going to do the same thing they did with the Ghost of Tsushima and add a Legends mode on top of Yotei. That way I can get my co-op with my friends, a couple of nights here or there, do some raids, that sort of thing. I think Ghost of Yotei is going to be really, really cool, and I'm super excited for that as well. But I also think that it's got to be about like what I can go back to over and over again, what I can replay. I have learned that replaying games has a lot of value, especially if it's going to be a game that's going to give you different experiences. And I know how Obsidian works, so I think the game that I'm most excited on Xbox is the game that I'm going to include in my top 3, and that's going to be Avowed. I think Avowed is going to have a lot of RPG decisions to make, and you're going to be able to change the storyline and roll a completely different character and see a completely different perspective of the world that they're going to make in that game. And I think that there's going to be writing support replay value there. So I think that
and your
adding
experience
that
may be very different from others.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
always cool. Yeah.
So I think Avowed definitely is, that's going to be on my list for the top 3. And the last one, there's a ton of them out there that I have to play. But I've been craving Pokemon, man. So it's going to be Pokemon Legends ZA. I think. And it's like,
Nice.
Again, the 3 games, my last one that I'm locking in is Pokemon Legends. We know it's coming out. It's definitely coming out this year. And we know that they've taken time to really make this one right. And if I need to go back and play a game, if there's no other games that come out without playing GTA 6, of course, like Pokemon Legends ZA, it's something that you can go, if you want to collect them all, you can collect them all in that game. If you want to go back and just replay it, try a different starter, you can go do that in that game too. It's going to be a cozy game, and it's going to be awesome. So I'm there with you.
All right. So, Nick, your Pokemon, Avowed, and what was the other?
Yotei. Ghost of Yotei.
Yotei. Yeah. And then I am Doom, GTA, and what was the other one I said? Oh, Elden Ring.
GTA. No.
And then Josh is Metroid. I'm saying Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to make a thingy. And
Metroid, Assassin's Creed, and Tomb Raider. And I didn't I should mention if remasters are off the list or not allowed, rather,
Sure.
then I would replace that with Doom. I don't know if that.
I also was gonna say, Josh, if remasters are late releases, but what about Indiana Jones?
Oh my
That's
god.
true. Yeah, I mean that is a good point.
I
So
want to
one
shout out
thing-
some other packages. Like I see Supertone saying Doom the Dark Ages, Elden Ring Night Ring, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I'm 2 out of 3 with you there.
Those are good
Patrick.
picks.
Those are good. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I've been hearing some early positive talk about
Yeah.
that. And that was a shout out too. That's another thing this year. Patrick says, I would like to play Doom the Dark Ages, Earthblade, and Night. Oh, I think you mean Night Rain. Earthblade. A shout out to Earthblade again. Devin May says, my 3 games, Pokemon ZA, Metroid Prime 4, and GTA 6, just to see how revolutionary this cam could be.
Yeah.
And Steffi, longtime supporter, South of Midnight, Earthblade, and GTA 6. Steffi, 2 out of 3 of those I totally predicted. I did not expect GTA 6. And Creature, Tales of Grace's F Remaster, Elden Ring Night Ring, and Fate Extra Record. There's a lot.
Shout out
there's
to
lot
a
of good
Fate
games.
fan. The Fate series is a banger.
He's a Fate fan, man. If you want to hit a Creature,
Huge.
he's a Fate fan.
Dude, Fate Stay Night, one of the best animes ever made. I'll just say that right now.
Oh no, he's gonna pop off, man. He loves Fate. 2 of my sponsors, man, Steffi and Creature. Thank you both very much for everything you do and for being here. But our must plays, I have like a vote going on right now, and so far they're tossing and turning between me and Nick. So no offense
Oh,
to
man.
Josh, but apparently.
Oh man.
No offense taken.
I did, and maybe it's just because I put ass. I was just putting acronyms to help remind people what each were, but
You can't say assassin without saying ass twice.
twice. Yeah. But those are our must plays. But before we go, we must play a good game. However, a very speed run thing. Nick, you had an idea of just, I don't want to ramble about it, but too long. But is there anything on the backlog that it's like, okay, in my fourth, I must play this from my backlog last year? Like for me, I'm like probably Helldivers 2. I've been wanting to hit that for freaking ages.
Love that game, Tony.
And it's funny because every year, my top 10, every year, the game that I missed makes it into like my top 4. So yeah, I would say Helldivers 2 without elaborating too much. How about you, Nick?
Okay, so I have
In 1 minute.
3 or 4. 3 or 4. I'm gonna go really fast. I'm gonna go really fast. Resident Evil Village. I need to play that. I played Biohazard last year. I played 7 last year. Loved it. I need to play Chrono Trigger because I love JRPGs and I've fallen in love with JRPGs. And shout out, rest in peace, Akira Toriyama. I also love Yakuza. I need to play Yakuza Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. And the last one is that I need to beat Uncharted 3, play 4 and Lost Legacy. Those are on my backlog. I have to play those games.
I feel like Yakuza specifically for you, Nick. That's a very Nick game, I feel like.
Did you beat Infinite Wealth?
No, but I just based off of my taste of what I've heard from you, I just feel like Yakuza is definitely going to be a hitter with Nick. Josh, is there anything in your backlog that's like, man, I have to hit that this year?
Yeah, 3 games that have been in my backlog for a long time. Anything from the Deus Ex franchise, probably either Mankind Divided or Human Revolution. I have them both. The first one would require me to bust out the PS3, but just me being a fan of the immersive sim genre, that seems like something that I should play. Along those same lines, Prey, the 2016 version or whatever, the most recent Prey game. I also want to play that because not too long ago, Dishonored 2 became one of my top 3 games of all time, and so that from the same developer, Arcane, and people seem to love that game. So those 2, and then I had something else on my Resident Evil 4. I've never played Resident Evil 4.
Do you want to play the original or the remake?
The remake. I have it in my.
Nice.
I bought it like when it was on sale. It's in my library. Never played Resident Evil 4. Just as a game, as a self-respecting gamer, I gotta play that.
Hey,
RE4 remake was my game of the year 2023. Sorry, I spoke over you, Tony.
No, you're good. No, I've never played any. I haven't played a single Resident Evil. So
What?
Yep.
Oh man.
Wait, none of them?
Not a single.
You don't
one.
like scary games. You're not a scary game guy, right?
That is correct.
Okay, got it. Okay, that makes sense.
But also, like, I don't know. Anyways, but damn, chat, you guys need to break this tie between me and Nick. Gosh dang it. It's like a freaking tie between you and me, but I guess they can't decide between Nick's package of Pokemon Avowed and Yote or mine Dark Ages, GTA 6, and Elden Ring, Night Rain. But oh wait, I just pressed
Josh.
that.
Josh just came in.
I voted, but I voted for myself, so I didn't.
I voted for myself. That's not allowed. Well, Josh, you would pick my package because I had Doom. So
I want to play a game called Metroid Ass Tomb. That's what I want to play.
That
play a
sounds like
game called
a
Metroid
great
Ass
game, honestly.
So because Josh won our fantasy draft way back of what games will be nominated for the Game Awards, I would like to offer, if you both have time, a co-op round of 20 Qs, if you would be interested. We are past that 90-minute mark though, so if you got to go, let me know.
No, I'm good to go. Let's do it.
Let's freaking go. Ladies and gentlemen, to end these, and also please at me in the chat. This is the part where I could kind of like back and forth with you while these two brainstorm. We are going to play a round of 20 questions, to which basically Nick and Josh, I'm excited for this for Josh because he doesn't usually have a partner when we play this. We are going to guess, or they are going to guess what game title I have over 20 yes or no questions. And you can only, the answer is yes or no. You can't be like, what genre is it? It has to be, is this a fantasy? And then I have to say yes or no. Sometimes I might say a soft yes or a soft no with very little context. That could happen. But
Scary. This is frightening.
It is. It's a lot harder than it sounds.
I'm so bad at this, and Tony, I feel like Tony knows so many niche games that like this is gonna be a tough one, man.
Yeah, I wonder what level I should, because I have 3 games here. Yeah, I'm gonna go with this one. I'm gonna go with this one. So, admittedly, I didn't get a send in, so the chat, you guys are gonna guess alongside them. I went to Google Gemini, aka an AI. I'm like, give me a bunch of random games, and I grabbed some of them that I thought would be fun. So, I have one. Let the questioning begin.
All right. Did this game come out?
You guys,
after...
actually, by the way, so Josh, now that you have a co-op partner, I don't know, just maybe just say the question and then get maybe a
deliberate,
a light approval, you know?
Yeah. I was first going to try and figure out when the game came out. I don't know if
that's gonna be hard. Yeah, I guess you could say like, did this game come out in? I mean, I don't know. What would you say? Like, did this game come out in the current generation or previous generation?
Yeah, you can do it like that, or you can do it like by like, did it come out after, 2000, after 2000 or after 2010, and then you can kind of narrow it down from there. I feel like, for some reason, I have a hunch that it is a more recent game. So I want to
What's your question?
I want to say, did this game come out after 2010?
I think it's a good question. If I was a teammate.
Yeah, let's go ahead and let's lock it in for question number 1. Did it come out after 2010?
I need to fact check this.
so we can.
So
yeah,
my idea, Josh, too, was I was thinking about we have to figure out where it's from. So like ask Tony, is this game, was it developed in North America or was it developed in Japan?
But you have to commit to one of those, because yes or no.
Right.
But the answer, by the way, to your
yeah,
2010 or later, yes, was released after 2010.
Okay,
that's one.
That's okay. That's not too bad.
I
feel like I might know what it is now.
Yeah. Okay. So it was after 2010. Technically, it is a yes or no question to say, was it developed in North America or Japan? He just can't tell us which one. It would be a yes or
we
no
could
answer.
we could say, was this developed by? What do you think would be smarter? Say, was this game developed by a Japanese developer or was it developed by a Western developer? Because which would narrow it down more, you think? Post 2010.
I mean, if it's a yes, the Japanese developer, and I do feel like with Tony's background and interest in anime, I feel like
ooh yeah,
could
be stereotype,
Japanese.
Josh. Way to stereotype.
What's that?
Way to stereotype.
I feel like Tony is such a I don't know. He seems like such a.
I'm gonna set a new rule for this. We have to ask the question within 1 minute.
All right, I say we ask if this,
because otherwise we'll be here for a very long time. That's the only reason I do that.
Okay.
I say we ask if it was developed in Japan. I think that's a good question.
Let's do it. Let's lock it in.
Was this developed in Japan?
Yes.
No.
Son of a gun.
That's
okay.
true.
I mean, then it's probably North America, or it's probably U.S. or Canada or Europe. I guess it could be Europe. Yeah.
Yeah, the probability of it being like in the U.S. I think is super high post 2010. And so it's not in the JRPG genre. So do you want to go to genre next? Do you think that would be smart to like narrow it down via that way, or something broader?
I think genre is good. So
So what are the biggest genres? Would you say it's either? Would you say it's like either RPG or a shooter?
Yeah, or like the generic action game, but that doesn't really.
Yeah.
So you can also narrow it down by saying like, do you shoot guns in this game? Which that
could introduce it, but again, like a lot of RPGs. I'm
taking this question. Do you shoot? I'm gonna do that. So you guys think out loud. And I'm gonna grab a question.
Right.
Do you shoot guns in this game? No.
All right.
Okay.
So no.
They don't shoot guns in this game. That actually narrows it down.
Is this another question that I feel like if it's a yes, it really does help? Is this game exclusive to one platform? Or was it exclusive to one platform when it released?
Okay. That's a good one. Let's do that.
Yeah, no, that's a great one. So when this game was released, was it exclusive? I believe I know the answer. Just let me double check.
And like by today's standards, I would say PC and Xbox, like that's exclusive, you know, like.
Interesting. I didn't know I was wrong. Yes, when this game released, it was a exclusive.
Okay, so we have a post 2010 game in from a Western developer. It's not a shooter, and it was exclusive at launch. Do you want to go to like characteristics of the game, like ask if it's a male or female protagonist?
Yeah, because that we asked one, we know. Yeah, so was it? Is it a female protagonist? I think that's a good question.
You guys keep asking some tricky questions.
And maybe there's a character creator. So.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Oh, that's interesting.
Hang on.
Because if he can't answer the yes or no
I
question,
believe
then we know
I
it has
know. I believe I know, but I just want to make sure. Okay, I was right. Okay, this one I was right. What was the question?
Is it a female protagonist?
It is not a female protagonist. That's 5.
So
okay, take a moment to think.
But that doesn't narrow it down. That doesn't narrow it down. I mean, I guess it's just the answer is. It's okay.
I'll hear you. I mean, there's been a lot of female protagonists in games, but it was exclusive, and I have to think that it was not that long after 2010 that this game was released, because Tony did have to look that up, but and there's no shooting in this game, so that leaves like it could be a adventure game, could be
an RPG.
Yeah, like an old like a fantasy RPG.
Yeah. And it's a male protagonist.
I feel like I was gonna say, I feel like is it an RPG would help us narrow it down.
I feel like that would help us narrow it down. Then it would also, if we determine it's an RPG, we can, then again ask, is it a fantasy RPG or is it a sci-fi RPG?
Yeah, I feel like if with no guns, I feel like it's probably not a sci-fi RPG.
That's true. That's true. You're right. That's accurate, especially post 2010.
Yeah, we're not talking about Mass Effect here.
I'm getting for some reason, so, but like, okay, so it's not. We know it's not CD Projekt because CD Projekt always releases multi-platform. It was exclusive at launch, so you got to think, and it's post 2010, so it's one of the big 3.
I'm gonna answer the RPG question. Is this game an RPG? No.
All right.
It's an event. Okay, so it's an action adventure game.
Is this game an RPG? No.
Well, I mean, it could be a racing game. I mean, there's a lot of games where you don't shoot. It could be a sports game. So
that's true. That's true.
So Tony, like the IGN format of this show is they sometimes ask, like, is it a racing game? They mix like 3 together.
You could do that. You could just list stuff.
Okay.
That's totally fine. Yep. As long as the question is a yes or no answer, you could ask whatever you want.
So how about go ahead, Josh?
Well, no, you go ahead.
I was thinking like if we it could help narrow it down if we ask Tony, is it a racing game? Is it an action adventure? Is it a Soulsborne title? Is that what you meant by like listing out?
Yeah. Okay. So we could do those 3.
Let's do it.
What were they?
So is this game a racing game, an action adventure game, or a Soulsborne title?
I almost want you to pick a different category than action adventure because I feel like that category has become so broad. I feel like I can answer it, but it's like I don't know.
About it again.
End call and jump back in if we're lacking for some reason. Sorry, chat. We are having this issue sometimes. Okay, let's hopefully good.
So
Okay.
So I say we go
good.
racing, adventure, Soulsborne.
That sounds good. Well, or what if we do like racing, indie, or Soulsborne? Or is indie too broad, you think?
Yeah, because
There's so many indie games after 2010, especially.
yeah. Let's keep it to genre for now because I feel like
Okay.
indie.
It's like a subgenre.
Yeah, and then
Or
if the
it's
answer is yes, then
type.
we're like, is it indie? Is it indie and a racing game?
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
mean-
so is it a?
Let
Oh,
me-
wait,
okay.
it said instead of adventure, what would we say? Is it an action game?
What's
Yeah.
a game that you would debate about being an adventure or not? Like, I'm trying to think without telling you guys, like, because I don't want to. I worry about me saying a game and then you guys like I'm literally just going to. I might just like say something and I just want.
Well, I see. I'm inclined to say adventure because there's no shooting, and when I think adventure game, like that term adventure game, I'm thinking like point and click games, walking simulators,
Yeah.
stuff in that vein. Does that make sense?
What if instead of this we say, does this world have an open world?
Okay,
Does the
I'm going
game
to take
have an
that.
open
So,
world?
does this game? Is this game open world racing or what was the other one you said before?
Soulsborne.
Soulsborne.
Soulsborne. No, it is not open world racing or Soulsborne.
Holy shit.
That's 7.
Okay. A post 2010 game, male protagonist. So I mean, we've basically narrowed it down to an action adventure title
I mean, it
from
could
a-
still be a fighting game,
from a
strategy
Western
game.
developer.
I mean,
Ah,
there's a
shit.
number of
Okay.
them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We could do. Is it a fighting game, a strategy game, or a
Point
well,
and
I
click
mean,
adventure.
Well,
Or walking
an
simulator. I like walking simulator. Yeah.
All right,
What were the options?
it's fighting game, strategy game, walking simulator.
I'm going to say no to this, but I will say a potential soft part of it, but that's all I will say. But I will say it's a no.
Okay.
Like 90% no.
That's tough.
But hopefully don't overthink that.
How many questions are we at now?
I believe
I
that
think
was
we're
8.
at question number
Thank
8.
Thank you to Supertone trying to put in the chat. If you're just joining us, we're playing a game of 20 questions to end this session of Codename Goodgame, where Josh and Nick are trying to guess what game that I have before 20 questions are used, and they can only ask questions that are answered with a yes or no. Supertone's been doing a great job keeping track in the chat.
Okay.
And it was exclusive. We could ask. I mean, he didn't know if
That's true. What if we just ask, is this an Xbox game?
sure.
Well, how do you want to
Was
phrase
it
that
was it
question?
exclusive to Xbox when it came
At
out?
launch. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow. Well done.
Now we could narrow it down to system. It could be it's either Xbox 360. Well, I guess it could be the original Xbox. No, it came after 2010, so it's
Yeah, so
it's most likely
2010 or
Xbox
later, yes.
360, Xbox One, or Xbox Series.
So okay.
Was this exclusive to? Did this come out initially for the Xbox One? You cool with that, Nick?
I'm cool with that. Let's lock that in.
Did this come out for the Xbox One when it released? No. That's
gotta be
it's
It's got to be the 360, because otherwise he would have known right away that this was a post 2010 game.
What if I misled you? What if I What if I purposely play poker a little bit here?
That would be devious. I mean, what came out for what was an exclusive game for the 360? That 360 is kind of a blind spot for me. I got to be honest.
There's a lot. And it's an adventure game. I mean, like the Gears games, of course, were exclusive. Dead Rising apparently was an exclusive game for the 360 at launch. I don't remember if there were guns in Dead Rising though.
There's got
Nick, also, I don't think I've played this with you yet. One rule is like, if it was a movie version of this and it's like, it's an 80s sci-fi movie, you can't look at a list of 80s sci-fi movies.
Okay, I see.
So just
okay.
FYI.
No,
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that's fair.
If I can help you guys at all, don't. Well, no, I can't help you. Never mind.
There's a what did Rare come out with?
I want to see if the chat can get it too. Chat, you feel
in
free to try to
in the
brainstorm.
360 era. See, this is such a blind spot for me because I didn't.
So Sea of Thieves, that's Xbox One.
Was one of the genres that we asked a rhythm? Like, did we ask that question?
No. But that is a genre that does not involve shooting, and it was a soft something on Walking Simulator, Soulsborne, which is probably not a Soulsborne if it was a 360 game. I guess it could have been.
Most definitely not. I really don't think this is a Soulsborne game. Well, he said no. He said no that it's not.
I said
a
no
Soulsborne
to that.
Game. So we know that can completely cross it off. It does. Okay, here's a question that I have a burning question about that I think we need to answer. Does this game have a peripheral that you need to use to play with it?
Oh, I think I get what you like outside the traditional controller.
Yes.
Josh, I'm gonna take this one. No. There's not
right.
a extra peripheral or whatever to play this game.
Exclusive to 360 when it came out, and it sounded like it eventually came to other systems.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
I wish I just knew things instantly, so people don't read into me.
Is it? So yeah, there's rhythm games, non-shooty games, and I think a strategy was a soft. That was another one of the genres we had in that question. It was fighting and strategy games and walking sims.
Okay, interesting.
Is it? I mean,
do we want to start trying to narrow down studios, or is that a little bit too focused?
No, I mean that would help if we know which studios published games for the Xbox. For some reason, Rare is the only one that comes to mind.
Yeah. But do you just want to ask? Is it a Rare game?
Yeah, might as well. So I feel like I'm grasping at straws. Is it a Rare game?
It's so hard to be like the host because I know like the best questions to ask for these. And I want to throw you guys a bone. There's a great question you could ask that you're on the cusp of with Rare. You might as well just do it. You could rule out so many more things.
We're on the cusp of with Rare.
I almost want to give you like a twofer. Like if I give you this question, I'm going to make it count for two. I'll use it as a lifeline. Either I will answer this question or I will give you a question that guaranteed it will rule out a lot more than Rare.
I say we take the lifeline. You know what the hell.
All right. For two questions Josh and Nick are going to use. Was this game developed or published by anybody that Xbox owns? No. By anybody that Xbox owns. Rare, Bethesda, Double Fine, Blizzard, Activision, Raven. No. Not by any of their first-party studios. That's what I'm going to give you for two questions. You're welcome.
I don't know why this game came to mind. Was Vanquish a Xbox exclusive when it came out? It's a Platinum. I think it's Platinum made that game.
Well, he said it was developed. Oh, it wasn't developed in Japan, so we can rule that out.
That's right. Yeah. And that's
And you don't shoot in the game. and it was developed by a Western developer, 360, post 2010.
We could ask if it's a fantasy game because you don't shoot. Well, at least you don't shoot guns in fantasy games. You do shoot like bows and arrows sometimes. But
Yeah, that's true. I'm
right.
cool with that. Let's ask.
Is it a fantasy game? No.
Gosh, we can't.
That
put anything
that
on
is
this.
So if
$14
it's
with the
not a
lifeline
fantasy
included.
game and it's not a shooter and it's on the Xbox, and he said that one of the 3 games that he said that was a soft no, that it leads me to believe that it might be like a fighter, like some kind of fighter, I feel like, but not a traditional fighting game.
It'd be like
because
a brawler. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Sifu is like borderline a fighting game, even though that obviously we're not
Right.
talking about Sifu, but
Yeah. And he said it's not a racing game. He said that's not true.
yeah. I think the soft no was the genres were fighter, strategy, and
No,
walking sim.
I could scroll back. I'll find it. You guys keep thinking. I'll find it.
I mean, we could ask, do you punch people in this game? I don't know if that is good.
Yeah, the thing I was like 90% no. Fighter, strategy, or walking sim. Yeah.
Okay.
Is it, or we could ask if it's based off of like, if it's
Like
we could ask if
IP?
it's a series or based off an IP. Of
Oh,
some kind.
yeah, like a franchise or not?
Is
Okay.
it like does this
That's a
game
good
have
one.
sequels that came out in the last?
Can I take that? Because that's a really good one.
Yeah.
No. This does not have sequels. But that helps you. Like
Yeah.
it's not part of anything, So
But
it
that
also
also
means
means
it's not
it's
part
its
of a
own
series or
game.
sequels.
It's his own game, and you don't shoot.
It also means it's less likely that I played it because, like I said, the Xbox 360 is a bit of a blind spot for me. Technically, we didn't ask if it was for the 360, but I'm just.
Oh, we didn't ask if it was for the 360?
I don't.
We just
think
asked
so.
if it was an Xbox One game,
Yeah,
and he said no.
yeah.
I feel like we need to ask if it was a Xbox Series game.
Okay.
I
Let's
feel like we
ask.
should ask that. Okay.
Is this an Xbox Series game? No.
Oh,
Josh's
so it
hunch
is
was
three-
correct.
It
Josh's hunch
is
was correct.
360. It is 360, 100%.
An exclusive game that doesn't have guns for the 360, developed not in Japan, so either Europe or the United States. Not an Xbox-owned studio.
It's not from any of
Who
those
made
studios.
Banjo-Kazooie, Josh?
Rare.
I mean, I want to say Rare because they
They own
the
Rare, right?
Yeah, they made the original. I don't know if they made Nuts and Bolts, to be honest, off the top of my head, but I would assume so.
I'm gonna look up something. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I mean, just the question is, what other exclusive?
Hey, okay, so
Xbox games
I'm gonna look at regarding earlier you said, is it a fighting, strategy, or walking sim game? And I said like soft yes. When I do a little search and whatnot, it's telling me for one of those genres, it's thinking yes. So
okay,
I question that, but I can understand why this would say yes. So I don't want to confirm which genre, but to strategy, fighting, or walking sim, I'm seeing yes.
and to be fair, like walking sims didn't really.
They weren't really a
That
thing
wasn't
on
really
360, right?
No.
Yeah. So it's either a strategy or a fighter
Yeah.
to that extent.
And are there like, if it's kind of borderline, like, were there any like brawlers, like Streets of Rage style games? Or
There's,
And that's the thing too, is that like it's very rare for strategy games not to have like firearms in them. Right,
and
because even Civ games have like later factions have like guns because you level up in history.
yeah, and how many strategy games launch exclusively for a console? Like virtually none. They're all PC games first, usually.
Okay.
I mean,
I was gonna say well, actually, first, are you guys on the cusp of what strategy or?
I would say fighting to me seems like it's a board somehow.
I was gonna
could
tell
get
you guys
categorized
that
as a
like if
fighting
you
game.
want, also the chat can kind of be with you, and I'm like keeping an eye. If they have a useful question, I was also gonna potentially throw that your way if you would like it, but I'll leave that to you, because I think I see a pretty good one
in the chat.
Well,
I haven't even
yeah.
been looking at the chat.
Would you like it?
I see Devin May is asking, is the game's art style cartoony?
There's one. I will say his critically acclaimed question. I think you guys should take that.
All right. Is it critically acclaimed? I mean, obviously now it's got to be, right?
This is the answer to that would be yes. This is an incredibly good, critically acclaimed game. Yes.
Didn't Tony confirm for us that Psycho? Well, I'm thinking Psychonauts, but was Double Fine owned by Xbox in the 360 era?
No, I don't.
Well, remember
think so.
earlier I phrased this is why I'm saying I threw you guys a big bone with this, saying like it's just this was not made by anybody that Xbox owns, like ever.
I'm going
like
has
in
ever
all their
owned.
history.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going. Well, it doesn't fit into fighting or strategy, but think like Xbox Live. All right, like Limbo. I think launched as an Xbox. Might have launched as an Xbox exclusive. Braid. No shooting in either of those games. Highly critically acclaimed games.
Cat's back.
What other games came out for like Xbox Live back in the day?
Man, it's so hard for me to lock into that. And I feel like he answered more questions that I'm like losing. I'm not keeping as close of a track of.
Yeah. The only, I mean, Limbo, like that's not a walking sim, but I mean, you do walk through that game.
You do. I've actually been playing Limbo again recently.
That game's really good. Yeah. Shadow Complex was a Xbox Live game, I think, but that's got shooting in it. It's a Metroidvania.
Next question.
I mean, we could ask if this was an Xbox Live game or an indie game, even.
You guys debated the indie question earlier. You're getting towards the end.
I feel like that. I mean, yeah, that would be one. I just don't know any, other than the ones I've already mentioned. I don't know any highly critically acclaimed games.
I wanna take the indie one. I think.
All right.
Yes, this is an indie game. Yes,
okay.
This was an indie game.
And he did say walking simulator. You might be onto something with Limbo, Josh. You might be onto something there, because they've never owned
2 questions.
They've never owned that studio. There's how many? 2 questions?
You have 2 questions left. So it's an
shit.
indie game that was released on the Xbox 360. At least it was a 360 exclusive when it launched, the bare minimum. It was not developed by any of the studios that Xbox owns in all of their history. And it's not a Soulsborne open world shooter, but it could be a strategy fighter or walking sim of some kind. And it does not have any sequels, and it was very critically acclaimed. And it's not an RPG.
I mean, it could be Limbo. And I'm not 100% positive that was
and
an
not a
Xbox
female
exclusive.
protagonist. That's another one you said.
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure that was exclusive to Xbox, but I think that was like an Xbox Live game before it was anything else. Another one is Fez. That's another one that came out that was highly critically acclaimed, if you ever played that game.
I never even heard of Fez, actually.
Oh, man, you should look it up. That's a super cool game.
Yeah. Interesting.
Um,
I'm a little bit. I'm sandbagging a little bit here, because they've never. Didn't Supermassive release, or not? See, I think Super. Can't remember the people who made the people who made Hades. Didn't they release games for the 360 back in the day? What was that earlier game that they had?
Bastion.
Bastion.
One. And they also had
right?
one called Transistor.
And you don't shoot guns in Bastion?
No, I don't know if that was. Did we ask if it was a role-playing game? Was that one of our questions? Because that's a role-playing game.
That, yes.
So we know it's Bastion.
Okay,
it's pretty
taking
solidly
a question
a
from
game.
either one of you two or the chat in 20 seconds.
20 seconds. Okay.
I mean, we could ask if we could use the hack of we've asking if we've mentioned the game yet.
Yeah, have we mentioned the game yet?
That's a hack. You can do that. I'll take that. That's a fun question. You have not said the game yet. No.
Gosh dang it! Then we're not gonna get this. There's no way.
There's no way we can get it.
But that's why you want to think out loud. That's a good hack, Josh. Good job.
Critically acclaimed indie game that launched for the Xbox, probably on other platforms now.
Because Xbox owns Mojang now, don't they?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's not Minecraft. Stardew Valley. I don't think that launched for the Xbox.
Yeah, I don't think it did either. Definitely not 360. Stardew came a lot later, didn't it?
Yeah,
and it's
probably.
critically acclaimed. That's the thing that gets me.
Yeah,
is that,
highly critically acclaimed.
I should know this.
Me
highly
too.
critically acclaimed, and we haven't mentioned it yet.
Super Meat Boy is another one.
What do you think? So I can let you both go home here. I'll stay here all night, Tony. I don't care. I'll figure this out.
We didn't ask if it was a platforming game. I mean, it could have been a platforming game.
Yeah.
I mean, we're out of questions at this point.
Yeah, we are out of questions. We're out of genres too. And it's like,
we're out
if
of
it's
genres.
not a platformer game, what the fuck is this game?
I'm
Honestly?
gonna. Can I?
Is it Block Blaster?
Can I
What is
just
this?
take that as your final question, and I'll give you a minute to brainstorm?
Yeah. What
Okay.
our final question is? What the fuck is this game?
Is this game a platformer? Yes. Yes.
Kind of yes. Kind of yes.
I'd say yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So that is your 20th question.
With no
Now, I don't
shooting.
know. I debate, is the 20th question supposed to be, is the final yes or no question supposed to be the title of the game? I don't know. But for this version, I'll let you guys have asked. You asked 20 questions. Now you must guess. What is this game?
So
It's like-
Super Meat Boy is a platformer, but he also didn't know initially if it was a boy or a female protagonist. He had to look that up. Obviously, that's a male protagonist.
Yeah, and again, it's like, the only place my mind goes to is Limbo, especially because there was that switch up with the walking simulator, but we had already mentioned it, and he said no, it's not. It wasn't a game that we'd mentioned. But I mean, how far after did Limbo come out that Inside came out? Because I'm pretty sure Inside was critically acclaimed, but I don't know if it was 360 exclusive. Was
No,
it
Inside
Xbox
was
One?
a Xbox One. Yeah.
Okay.
But it was exclusive. That would have been a good guess. I think it's this game is borderline a fighter and a platformer. I think it's some sort of beat 'em up. That's where I'm leaning. But just I don't know any games that fit that description that are highly critically acclaimed.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
I
I'm not
misread
gonna get
something
it.
earlier.
I'm not
I
gonna get
misread something earlier. I'm sorry. I misread something earlier.
Uh-oh.
I could have swore what I saw was 360. It was the Xbox One. I am
it was
so
an Xbox
sorry.
One game.
I'm
indie
so
Xbox
sorry.
One
I
game.
swear I read 360.
So it could
But-
be Inside.
It could be Inside.
I say we guess Inside.
That's my guess.
I mean, that is highly critically acclaimed. It doesn't get
Yeah.
any more critically acclaimed than Inside.
It's
I feel
like everybody loves that game.
Is the game Inside?
Yes, that's. Are you cool with that, Nick?
Let's
is
lock
Inside.
it in.
It's Inside. It's Inside. It's Inside. Good job, everybody.
We did it. Oh
I
my
am
gosh.
so sorry.
Down
I
to
swear I
the
read,
wire. Down to
I
the wire.
swear I read 360 there, and I was like, wait a minute, but that doesn't wait. So I should have spent more time on that. I'm so sorry. But yes, you
Oh,
got
man.
it. It is Inside. Well done.
Oh man, I feel vindicated because I definitely.
You guys,
I was
were-
thinking Inside.
I was like, when you kept saying Limbo over and over, I was like, you're so close. You're so close.
Oh my gosh.
But then I was
Yeah.
like, the second you brought him Inside, I'm like, but that was just the Xbox One. I'm like,
Yeah.
you said 360. Oh shit! I have to tell. Oh god!
Holy
Good
smokes.
job. So, and that's why I was like, is it a walking sim? I don't consider it a walking sim, but I guess it is.
It's not. It's not a walking sim. It's just it's a 2D.
But it is kind of like I could see either way. but that's why I was like,
it's a 2D puzzle game. Really, is what
it's
it is.
a puzzle platformer, is what I would call it.
Yeah,
It's a puzzle
I'd call it a
platformer.
puzzle platformer. But I could see how like Wikipedia or someone who's not, or something that's not gaming related might like have it listed as a walking sim. I can kind of see that. But
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, well done. You guys did it, and I'm
Josh,
so glad
you killed it on that one, man.
However, you definitely went over the time limit because the goal of these is to hopefully be 20 questions in under 20 minutes. But you guys went for like 30.
How long did we take?
You took 30.
Oh,
that's why I was like, I even saw somebody in the chat, Danny Passion, is like, not gonna lie, you have to have a time limit for this because this is going too long. I'm like, I told them, I know.
I think
I'm a
next time
deliberator, man. I deliberate.
I think next time, if I have a choice, next time I'm definitely not choosing 20 questions unless the alternative is guess this music, because I'm the worst at that. But
I'm terrible at that. Because I did that with you last time, Tony, and you were like, "How do you not know any of these?" And I'm like, "I don't."
Is that what we did? I don't remember. I think you're right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Devin May, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Before you go, what is your favorite game of 2024? I have a whole video about that. So Devin, I would love for you to check that out if you want to know what my favorite games of the year were. So I'm not even gonna spoil that for you. Go watch that video and skip to the end if you want to find out. I don't know if Nick and Josh have one that just without giving context what you think your favorite game was, or do you want to save that for a podcast, Nick?
I mean, we could save it for a podcast, but like, I would say that it's neck and neck between Silent Hill 2 and Astrobot. I will say that.
Yeah. Okay. I was guessing that too. Josh, how about you?
Astrobot, and the other game I played recently that just blew me away was Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. Man, if you like puzzle games,
nice.
Definitely check it out. If you like puzzle games, if you don't like puzzles, stay as far away from that game as humanly possible. But
all right, you know what? Fine, I'll just spoil it because they already said it. My favorite game of the year was Astrobot, so because all three of us said Astrobot, so there we go.
Yeah, it's Astro.
So
it's young Astro.
Yeah, Astro. It was a well-deserved game of the year. But folks, that is our episode of Codename Goodgame. I hope you had a fancy time. But a plug-in before we go is also, by the way, Nick and Josh. Nick from the Friday Night Gamescast. Go to my Twitter. You'll see his Twitter there. I tagged him in the most recent thing. And Josh from Quest Mode. And next week, there will be the first time I am ever doing Fantasy Critic, where you will see Rob and Kel from the Gaming Duo podcast return. And we have been talking about this for months. That is what we'll be doing next week. Our first ever Fantasy Critic. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's kind of what the three of us did for the Game Awards. And we'll see. I don't know. Maybe we'll have an extra guest or two return. We'll see.
I mean, Tony, if I could jump in there, I won't be able to be present because I have a recording locked in for that day. Okay. But if I could, can I send you my picks and then you vote for me based on what's available?
You mean like in order? I'll talk to you about that after the stream, actually.
Okay.
We'll see, actually. But
no
yeah,
worries.
So yeah, folks, this has been Codename Goodgame. It's gone on for quite a while, but I hope you had fun today. And thank you, Josh. Thank you, Nick, for having fun and talking about our most anticipated games of 2025.
Absolutely, man. This was a great time. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Well, folks, have a lovely weekend. I will see you next week.